Cricket fans across the country are hoping for another classic between England and India this week. The second test is now well underway at Edgbaston, with Ben Stokes again winning the toss and fielding first. Former England bowler Phil Tufnell says the Bazballers have a newfound maturity.
I think they've just dialed it back a little bit and they're playing smart. There was a couple of sort of instances when the pressure came on, they lost a couple of wickets, and instead of just sort of like pushing through and sort of trying to smash their way out of it, they just absorbed the pressure and then went again. So I think this England side is a good side at the moment, and they've learned a little bit and they're playing smart cricket.
On to football now, and Real Madrid have already made a profit on Trent. He set up the only goal for Xabi Alonso's men in their 1-0 win over Juve at the Club World Cup. A place in the quarter-finals has earned Real £10 million. But Ali McCoy says Trent will face a battle to start at right-back for the Galacticos.
I mean, do we automatically think that Danny Carvajal is going to go away here with a fight? No chance. None whatsoever. I mean, he scored. I was at the Champions League final, was at Wembley when he scored against Dortmund. Carvalho's a very, very good player. Clearly coming, at the wrong end of his career age-wise. But he's not going to go anywhere with a fight, Al.
We're expecting João Pedro's move to Stamford Bridge to be confirmed today for £60 million. talkSPORT's Alex Crook is across that one.
The reason he's gone to Chelsea is because he thinks it gives him the best possible opportunity to make himself a guaranteed starter when it comes to the World Cup for Brazil next summer. I'm intrigued by this signing because, again, if you look at his numbers and his season, I'm not sure he pulled up that many trees for Brighton last season.
Some centre-back news now. Jared Branthwaite has signed a new contract at Everton until 2030. The club rejected 2 offers from Man United, of course, last summer. And Jarell Quansah's move from Liverpool to Leverkusen has been confirmed for £35 million. He's also signed a 5-year deal. We've got plenty more content at talksport.com.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, Andy, please tell us what's coming up.
Well, coming up in the next 3 hours, Ian Poulter on his unsuccessful Open qualifying experience yesterday. England World Cup winner Ben Kay gives us his verdict on the Lions' second warm-up game. And we'll chat to someone who went through the same college tennis experience as Wimbledon wildcard Oliver Tarvik.
That's right, yeah, he's in action, isn't he, against Alcaraz later on today. We'll also keep you in touch with Wimbledon and the second test at Edgbaston.
Yeah.
And Evertonian and Men in Blazers host Roger Bennett on the Club World Cup. And Poch suddenly picking up results for the USA national team.
It's quite Poch, though, to do that.
Yeah.
There's all this, plus Liverpool fan, writer, actor and poet Tim Key pops in to chat about his new film. I've seen it, it's fantastic. And Tim Vickery brings us all the latest football news from South America. That's it.
That's right. We'll also build up to the Women's Euros that gets underway this evening, and lots more besides. But it is 5 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, Paul. And I haven't had a chance to talk about the City Al Hilal result, which,
no, you haven't.
Was a big shock,
It wasn't
exactly Hereford v Newcastle.
No,
they do have quite a lot of money out.
I was making that point yesterday, Andy. That it's well, actually, Charlie and I thought that little bit of money coming into Al Hilal could make all the difference. We were saying it was a bit like Marine when they played Spurs. It could be transformative.
No, it could
They're
be.
going to do up the clubhouse. We said Ken, the club secretary, who's Hilal through and through, he's going to get, he's been a volunteer for years, but at last he'll get some money for doing what he does.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the little engine that did. I thought I wasn't quite like that,
No,
was it?
exactly. But well done to them. It's a great boost for their football. And City still look vulnerable in defence. They do. It's worried they've added loads of attacking weapons, but, they need to sort that out.
My friend and Blueprint City fanzine editor Bill Burrow says, despite what happened, he said to me the other day, I still feel I've seen enough to suggest that we're going to get our title back next year. So he's feeling very confident.
No, I think that's a bit optimistic. And I'm not saying they won't do it, but I think Liverpool, they'll do well to finish above Liverpool, and if they do, they probably will win it.
Yeah.
Fluminense.
What about your lot, though? Yeah, I actually think you're quietly building a decent team, haven't you?
Well, we've been doing that for 2 years. I kept saying to people, give us 2 years. I can see what they're trying to do. And you can see that the maturity that they're showing in each game now is building.
Yeah.
And they still, you still get that thing where they combust if they concede. They can that can affect them badly, but they're getting better. I don't think that we'll ask Tim Vickery about this, but I think to beat 2 more Brazilian teams on the way to getting to the final would seem
That's
unlikely.
your route, is it?
Yeah.
Well, you've got Palmeiras on Friday, haven't you?
Friday night, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, though. The Brazilian teams have been impressive. Fluminense, though, but that wasn't even a fair fight the other night. Inter looked so flogged.
You see, Igor Tudor, the manager, said that 10 of his players asked to come off.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
10 players wanted to be substituted.
They've had a very long season. They had 2 massive disappointments mentally at the end of the season.
Yeah.
5-0 hammering in the Champions League. They're playing, in 32 degrees. It's not surprised they lost, Fluminense have got a great striker, though, John Arias. Did you see this kid, John Arias?
No, John
great if he won a radio award.
Yeah.
Thank you for those who know.
You've really
You've got
one for the radio biz people out there.
I like to put those in.
Also, Andy earlier on, he was just we were watching the cricket. I don't know. He thought he's got a song for bride and cast, and this is literally what he did. He went. Da 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 da. Cast. Who's gonna do the?
Nobody.
You could get the trumpeter to do the build-up, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'm not great on lyrics.
No, you're not great on holding a tune. Normally, I was quite impressed you managed to do that.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Enjoyed Gonzalo Garcia. He looks a prospect from Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Great header and a good cross.
Good cross from Trent. Yeah.
It was, and so despite everything, I've sort of enjoyed it. I don't like streamed football, though, particularly. I find it's got a strange quality to it.
Got a bit of a filmic look to it, isn't it?
Maybe it's just me. I just don't really get it particularly like, but there you go. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
And Edgar Davids impressed me, though, with his analysis. He's a kind of Dutch Roy Keane.
Yeah.
He's quite sort of tricky sort of character, but quite enjoyable.
I think he was like that from speaking to some of the Tottenham team who were in when he came in.
Yeah.
He doesn't mince his words. If he thinks you're not at it, you're not putting a shift in, or you're not living up to his standards, he would let you know.
And when he did have high standards. Emma Raducanu has been talking about playing on centre court and looking up and seeing the royal box and seeing who all these famous people in there and spotting them. So she said, excuse me, I saw David Beckham, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Last year, David Attenborough was there. That's Sir David Beckham and Sir David Attenborough to you.
Yeah, okay. She'll be Dame Emma one day, won't she? Dame Emma Raducanu.
She said, I saw a frog on the practice court yesterday.
Oh, really?
And Mark Petchey picked it up in his hands, and we were joking that he was like David Beckham.
No, David Attenborough, you loon.
Really?
Yeah, of course. I mean, but
why?
Well,
Who looks more like a frog, David Attenborough or David Beckham?
It's got nothing to do with the way he looked. The point is, he is a naturalist, isn't he? And he would then go and interact with the beasts and animals. Really? Yeah, so the point she was making on...
Mark Petchey was like David.
Yeah.
Not David Beckham was like a frog.
It's a shame when you go round to Nan's house. No, Nan. He's not dead in real life. He's only left Coronation Street. You sure? I thought he was dead. They had a funeral. But they only had a funeral, Nan, on Coronation Street. He hasn't really died. He's in Run for Your Wife.
What can you do?
At the Aldwych at the moment.
Marvellous.
So there we are. So that explains it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then something I noticed
Great,
as well.
isn't it? I feel like I'm offering a service. I should get a carer's allowance. I'm going to apply for carer's allowance. I've decided.
It's really hard.
I'm going to supplement my earnings.
Anyway, the fastest serve at Wimbledon ever.
Yeah.
153 miles an hour from...
But your man won the point, didn't he?
That's it.
Yeah.
I was going to make that point that, it's a funny thing that speed in sport isn't always there. It's like you see a bloke said, oh, he's bowled 100 mile an hour. You think, great, it's just in it for 4. It's not really about that.
Mark Wood was talking about that. That's the holy grail. It's what he wants to do, isn't he? He wants to get over the 100.
I've seen bowlers do it, but you very rarely take a wicket with it. It's not about that. It's it's about where you put the ball.
Indeed.
But there we go. Russell Crowe struggled with the heat.
Did he? Where was he? In Australia?
No, in the Royal Box.
Oh, okay, right.
He wasn't allowed to take his jacket and tie off, which I thought was a bit harsh.
Even in that weather.
I know. They're more strict at Wimbledon than they are at Royal Ascot.
Wow. Blimey.
Mad, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, what can you do?
Anything else?
Duke of Kent.
Oh, yeah.
He must be gutted. Well, I always make this joke that because
he loves
for
tennis.
many years
he was always there, wasn't
he? The court circular would say, and the Duke of Kent in attendance. We think, yeah, well, we know that he goes there every day.
Yeah,
but the other day he had to do something else. Yeah, Duke of Kent, patron of the National Army Museum, this was Monday, attended a reception to mark the opening of the exhibition entitled Myth and Reality, Military Art in the Age of Queen Victoria. Not at all dry or anything like that.
Touch dry.
Touch dry.
But I would imagine if you look at pictures of him while he was making his speech, you think he's looking at his notes, but he was watching the tennis on his phone. He was just winging it.
Could have been,
yeah.
No question. Anyway.
Well, we've had plenty of live sport this morning. We'll continue to keep you in touch with it throughout the afternoon. Wimbledon, of course, continues. And we're going to be chatting to someone now, a journalist, who went through the sort of American college system that Oliver Tarvett, who's taking on Carlos Alcaraz today, went through as well. And kind of, she can completely understand why he's turned his back on the just shy of 100 grand prize money. To keep doing what he's doing. Yeah. So we'll be chatting to Athena Chrysanthou from the Times a little bit later on. Tim Key's going to join us. Ballad of Wallace Island has been a smash hit.
Yeah, I loved it.
A real word of mouth hit, which is fantastic.
Yeah, Richard Curtis described it as one of the best British films of all time.
That's brilliant. Well, that's good.
It's great.
It's well deserved, and it's always good to see Tim, an old friend of the show. He's going to pop in. We'll talk a bit of Liverpool, I'm sure, as well. Alex Yee is a Palace fan, and he's in a kind of group chat with Mark Gay. So he's going to be best placed to tell us where Mark's going next. As Palace look to buy a centre half from Sporting Lisbon.
I think they know.
Something we'll be chatting to Ollie Klink about when he covers the transfers for us. Ian Poulter is going to join us. Him and his lad Luke attempted open qualifying yesterday, but it wasn't to be for either of them. Sam Horsfield also tried, and had a bit of a nightmare really. 7 over after 9. And decided that was enough. Wasn't and was disqualified for leaving the course. So anyway, they'll both talk us through that and other matters besides. Kelly Smith, head of the Women's Euros, and Tim Vickery will have all the latest from South America.
Yeah, and you mentioned the transfers there, and Arsenal now have signed 6 Chelsea players in 7 years, which is amazing, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
None of them have been a particularly successful. Jorginho.
Well, Jorginho was good.
Jorginho's been
for £5 million.
No, he was a good buy.
He's worth a punt.
Oh, Kepa, yeah. But apparently Arsenal Fan TV are trying to sign Jason Cundy.
Well, I don't think that's a great idea.
I don't get the Maduaki to them, though. They've got that position so well covered. They've got Saka, they've got Nweri, who's a really great prospect. Isn't that going to block his pathway if they sign Maduaki? It makes no sense to me, that.
Something else we may touch on with Ollie Klink on the transfer front a little bit later on. But I think, are we in a position to head to Wimbledon for the first time this afternoon? Is Lisa there? Let's find out if she's there. Yes, she is. Let's check in for the first time with Lisa O'Sullivan. Hi, Lisa. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm watching Sonny Cartel, the British number 3, underway against Victoria Tomova of Bulgaria, looking to book a place in the second round of Wimbledon for the second year running. She had a great result, remember, in the first round, putting out the number 20 seed, Yelena Ostapenko. But it's about the magnificent 7 today, 7 British players in action. Ollie Tarvett, as you mentioned, will be on centre court in the second match match of the day and will be followed by Emma Raducanu. Over on court number 1, just getting underway, is Cam Norrie. He's taking on Francis Tiafoe. Has held serve in the opening game of that match, but it's a lot cooler today. It's a lot damper. The roof is on centre court at the moment. I think that's going to be open though, because we're forecast sunshine for the rest of the day despite the rain this morning.
Thanks very much, Lisa. Back to Lisa throughout the afternoon. News of more players from the world of tennis on OnlyFans. Seems a little side hustle for many of them, yeah.
Really?
We spoke about one yesterday.
Oh.
France's sexiest tennis player, he dubs himself.
Oh, right.
Anyway, we'll be chatting to Lisa throughout the afternoon. But the Lions are in action this morning. You heard it live on talkSPORT 2 with Andrew McKenna and Ben Kay, England World Cup winner and former Lion. A 52-12 win against Queensland Reds in Brisbane. And we're going to reflect on that and pick the bones out of that and see what we learned from that performance with Ben in a few moments' time. Stick around for Ian Poulter and Sam Horsfield, fresh from their attempt to qualify for the Open, and Kelly Smith joining us in this first hour, plus Tim Key in the next hour. So lots to come between now and 4. We're here, as always, with our very, very good friends at Toolstation. It's Hawksbee and Jacobs here on talkSPORT.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. If you were listening to talkSPORT 2 this morning, you would have heard Andrew McKenna and our next guest on commentary duty for the British and Irish Lions winning 52-12 against Queensland Reds. So
it was quite close for a while, wasn't it? I didn't get to see too much. It'd be interesting to see what Ben made of it.
That has been the pattern of the two warm-up games down under. Yes, Ben Kay, former Lion and England World Cup winner, joins us. Hi, Ben.
Hi guys, enjoyed that one. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, we saw that a little bit in the first game. It took the boys a little while to get going. I mean, in this case, they were behind, but not for that long. And once they seem to get their head of steam up, they look pretty formidable, don't they?
Yeah, they were better than they were on Saturday in Perth, actually, when they didn't have much possession. They made quite a few errors and gifted the ball back to the Western Force. Today, you know that when you play these provincial sides, for most of them, it's the biggest game of their career. They're facing against the British and Irish Lions for effectively their club side, and they are going to be all brim and firestone at the beginning. They're going to come out all guns blazing, and they did that. But the Lions weathered it fairly well. They were competitive. I thought it's a real step up from the Lions in those early parts of the game, and then as the game goes on and the fatigue sets in, that's where the real quality of the Lions comes through. So probably the only worry for the Lions is, are they getting tested enough in these early games to face what they're going to face when they come against the Wallabies in the Test series?
So what did we learn, you think? Who were the sort of standout performers? Were the little partnerships building? What did you like the look of?
Well, look, Maro Itoje is captain of the side, so we're pretty sure that he was nailed on to start in the Test series anyway. It's a huge story if they don't pick the captain. It has happened before, but you know, all the focus of the media is around that. So you've got to be absolutely sure they're not the right person to start. So, but he had an outstanding game. I think he's had one of the best games he's had in a long time. He's been playing okay, pretty well for Saracens, but it was a step up in terms of world class today. Jack Morgan was outstanding today. He ended up getting the man of the match, and rightly so. You know, the only Welsh player left on the tour now, and head and shoulders the best back row performance I've seen in the Lions tour so far. So he's put himself right in contention for a Test starting jersey. Finn Russell again backed up his performance from Saturday, where he was good. I think he's pretty much nailed on, though Finn Smith came off the bench and was really, really good as well. So it's great for Andy Farrell to have those two tens playing so well together. And then there's a couple of players that probably will be a bit disappointed. I think Tom Curry had a poor game by his standards, and Duhan van der Merwe had a bit of a shocker. Scored a try, but he made two key defensive errors, which is probably the question mark over his game at the moment, and might well have played himself out of a Test spot.
Interesting.
Yeah, I heard Andy Farrell talking, he was being asked about who he's going to pick and all this, of course. And he's saying that one of the advantages they've got is they've got no game in the week leading up to the first Test, which does make it a bit easier for him, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because he obviously, not only actually from in terms of selecting, he'll pick and choose and try and get the combinations right, and then you've got a week off. But in terms of preparation for the Test as well, if you've got a team playing on the Wednesday, preparing the Test team becomes a lot more difficult. You can't have opposition to run moves against and things. So I think it's definitely wise for the Lions to do that. Have that blank Wednesday, get themselves fully prepared, and he's going to have to react to injuries as well. Couple of little injuries today. Elliot Daly didn't look particularly bad. Bundy Aki sort of pulled up a couple of times, but he'll be very aware with what happened to Thomas Williams in Perth, end of his tour, that it might not be the people he's got in his mind nailed on to be Test starters. Come the actual Test, they might not be available.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because obviously Elliot Daly wasn't expecting to play. He got called up late because Hugo Keenan wasn't well. And what was it? He went in for a tackle, and he caught the bony part of his forearm on the elbow of the player he was tackling. So it didn't look like to me, I mean, I'm not a doctor, and B, obviously, just from watching the pictures, but it didn't look like one of those instances where you think, oh no, he's broken his arm. I'm hoping it's just, a really bad bone bruise, but he's certainly a player that there's no player that's ever been more or better at peaking it for the Lions. He's been quiet in between Lions tours, but gets to his very best for a Lions tour, and he, if fit, I would be very surprised if he isn't on the bench for the Lions, because he can cover three positions. I saw a few positive comments about Ellis Genge as well, having a good game. What did you make of him?
Yeah, he came off the bench. I think he had to do because he's under pressure. Andrew Porter started and was really, really good, actually. Bar the scrum, they had a few issues with, but I don't think when they do the meeting they'll agree with all the decisions that went against them. But certainly Andrew Porter will need his scrummaging to improve. But around the field, he was very good. And Ellis Genge came on and made an impact as well. So that's one of those really tight positions, I think, that will be weighing heavily on Andy Farrell's mind.
So Waratah's next on Saturday. Is that another step up in quality of opposition?
Not necessarily.
No.
There'd be a similar level. The Reds finished higher than the Waratahs in Super Rugby this year, but it's another sort of click on the journey, and it'll be very similar, and it won't be a similar Lions team. You'd expect there to be some changes from tonight's team, and another opportunity. I think the Brumbies, who are the following Wednesday, they are the best Super Rugby side and will probably be the hardest test for the Lions, though by that stage I doubt there will be any of the players that Joe Schmidt's considering for the Wallabies team released back to the Brumbies.
No more fun and games over the PA with the Aussies taking the mickey out of the sort of the broad demographic nature of the Lions team, or none of that again?
It's what we love. It was brilliant from them. When you go and tour in Australia, if you go to South Africa or New Zealand, you get a load of stick, but it's never quite as funny or as good-natured as when you go down to Australia. The banter's good. There are thousands and thousands of Lions fans in Australia. That's only going to grow over the weeks, and the camaraderie and the jokes that'll be going backwards and forwards will be outstanding, but let's just hope it's the Red fans that are cheering come the end.
And just finally, we've been talking about these slowish starts that the team have been having. You can put some of that down to nerves. You've been there, and this was a lot of boys making their first appearance on this tour, or indeed their first appearance ever. So there's going to be a bit of nerves, isn't there, once you pull on that shirt and you're out there playing for the Lions until you get going? Do
you know what? I don't think it's because you're playing for the Lions. Partly it is because obviously it's so big and you want to be selected. There's a bit of no one quite knows what the pecking order is. When you first join up with your international team, people know the pecking order.
Yeah.
But here you're literally looking over your shoulder going, am I number one? Am I number two? And not quite sure. And if you have a poor game, that obviously plays into it. But actually the nervousness is probably around, how am I going to play with this guy alongside me that I don't know? What does he like to do? And that can just cause hesitation. And any sport, hesitation's a killer, because the opportunity disappears or the pass isn't quite in the right place because one of the players hesitated. So it's getting that sort of fluidity and flow into a game that's all important for all aspects of the game. The attacking shape, the line-outs, the kick-offs, everything is just about repping it on the training field and then getting opportunities against match opposition to put it into practice.
Excellent. Thank you, Ben. We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers, guys.
There we are, Ben Kay, former British and Irish Lion. They won 52-12 against Queensland Reds earlier on today. It was live on talkSPORT 2, and we're going to be bringing you the entire tour live and exclusive on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2, and we'll have lots of content from Australia, and of course we've got all the warm-up games as well as those tests. There's cricket being played this afternoon, of course, and we'll be getting regular updates from Sam Ellard this afternoon. India currently 98 for 2 at lunch, a little Cast getting a all-important second wicket. Andy, we found in recent weeks that England don't get any wickets when we're on.
No.
And that happened about a minute before one. Yeah. So the record's in good. Let's hope it's not the same intact this afternoon. So anyway, keep in touch with Wimbledon and indeed the cricket throughout the afternoon. But we're going to be chatting to Ian Poulter and Sam Horsfield. They both play on the Live Tour, of course, but both went for open qualifying yesterday. And Ian's son Luke tried as well. We'll discover how they got on. Chat to Kelly Smith in the next half hour as well, as we build up to the start of the Women's Euros. And again, we're right across that for you on talkSPORT.
Cricket fans across the country are hoping for another classic between England and India this week. The second test is now well underway at Edgbaston, with Ben Stokes again winning the toss and fielding first. Former England bowler Phil Tufnell says the Bazballers have a newfound maturity.
I think this England side is a good side at the moment, and they've learned a little bit and they're playing smart cricket.
On to football now, and Real Madrid have already made a profit on Trent. He set up the only goal for Xabi Alonso's men in their 1-0 win over Juve at the Club World Cup. A place in the quarter-finals has earned Real £10 million. But Ali McCoy says Trent will face a battle to start at right-back for the Galacticos.
Carvalho's a very, very good player. Clearly coming, at the wrong end of his career age-wise. But he's not going to go anywhere with a fight, Al.
We're expecting João Pedro's move to Stamford Bridge to be confirmed today for £60 million. talkSPORT's Alex Crook is across that one.
The reason he's gone to Chelsea is because he thinks it gives him the best possible opportunity to make himself a guaranteed starter when it comes to the World Cup for Brazil next summer. I'm intrigued by this signing because, again, if you look at his numbers and his season, I'm not sure he pulled up that many trees for Brighton last season.
We've got plenty more content at talksport.com.
Good afternoon, it is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT with you through until 4 o'clock. Now for our next two guests, today out at St George's. They're both big football fans, so it must be a bit of a buzz, but they are there playing golf and hopefully getting young kids into golf. It's all part of the Majestics team, you know them from the Live Golf League, and it's the Little Sticks programme. I get kids to enjoy the game, and while we were waiting for the fellas, I could see Ian Poulter sort of, clapping some of the kids for some of their shots in the background. He joins us alongside his teammate in Majestics, Sam Horsfield. Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon. How are we doing?
Yeah, good. Not too bad, thanks. So, what's it like hanging out at St George's? And any superstars wandering past at the moment?
Plenty. We've had, as you saw earlier on, me congratulating some of the kids hitting the bullseye on the target behind. So it's pretty cool. We've got about 12 schools that have come in today as part of our Little Sticks program. 200 schools, 40,000 kids we'll touch this year. So for us to give back as Team Majestics to some of the PE curriculum in schools is pretty special for, Sam and I to be involved in this and obviously watch these kids have a lot of fun.
Now, I know Ian started when he was I think 4, wasn't it? Ian, you started playing because your dad played. But what about you? What about you, Sam? I mean, when did you first start playing golf? What were your opportunities to try the sport out?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was 5. Then we were living over here in Manchester, Minnesota, and we went to Disney one day, and then we came back, and me and my dad were like, "Why don't we go play golf today afternoon?" And that was the first time I ever played golf, and here we are, 25 years later.
Yeah. Wow.
What about the costs for kids, though? I mean, it's not a cheap sport, golf, is it? I know you can do any sport cheaper, but it's still a fairly amount of money, isn't it, to take it up?
Yeah, it's not cheap. Golf has always been that way inclined. I think the biggest thing for us is the change in indoor spaces nowadays. Urban golf, there's more people playing golf non on a golf course than on a golf course. So with that in mind, I think the costs are coming down for people to start getting into the game. And I think the best thing for me is, look, my kids are fortunate enough to play golf, but in this room, we've got kids at the age of 10 that can play with their parents and obviously go on and play with their grandparents. So, hopefully we can keep bringing the cost down. We can get more and more kids playing this great game. And hopefully, we may see one of the best players in the world come out of one of these programs.
It's interesting you mentioned indoor golf, Ian, because Sam, the kids must love it. It's all quite high tech and lots of flashing lights. And you wouldn't think it was a traditional route into maybe ending up playing in the Masters one day. But look, if it gets people getting a club in their hand and trying it out, then it's a legitimate route, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It's really, really cool. Jordan, the guy who's run Majestics for the past 3 years, he's done an amazing job of involving life skills and everything sort of within the game, and their understanding of the game of golf. They're having a great time out here today. They've been through some football nets, and they're just having a great time. And I think to get young kids involved in the game of golf is really, really important.
Yeah.
Golf industry is booming at the moment, and the more the merrier sort of thing, right? So we've been fortunate enough to have Jordan sort of lead the way with this, and so amazing golf.
We are struggling a little bit with your line, Sam, at the moment. We'd like to, we'll see if we can put that right. I'll just ask a question to Ian. Ian, you and your lad Luke and Sam, and hopefully we can come back to him in a minute, tried out for the Open yesterday. It wasn't to be. How you feeling about that as a family today? 'Cause it's not just you, it's your lad as well.
I think disappointed is the right word. Luke got off to an amazing start yesterday. He was 5 under for his first round, line third, top 5 guys go through. I struggled on my front 9, so I had some motivation in the afternoon to try and, have a great round of golf. Didn't quite happen, and we both ended up finishing 13th. So, he had the luxury of staying in bed this morning while I come up and drove a couple of hours up the motorway and come up to help out these fantastic kids that we've got. But wonderful experience for me to have Luke playing in the same tournament as myself to try and make the Open Championship. And he's definitely one for the future, and hopefully he can make his first major sometime next year.
Lee Westwood made it. Unfortunately, Graham McDowell, who wanted to be there because it was Portrush, didn't. Have you spoke to Lee?
Yeah, we've been messaging Lee. Obviously, we got a tight team, and for him to go and win, that qualifier, I think. It was kind of bittersweet for him. He got his 4th choice of where he wanted to qualify at. So I think he went out there with some motivation to basically earn his spot in the Open Championship. And, he's 52 years old. He's still a great player, former world #1. I wish him the very best of luck in a couple of weeks' time when he pegs it up in Ireland.
Yeah, he was on with Alan this morning on breakfast, and he was saying Portrush is amongst his 3 favourite courses, so it must be a lovely course.
Did you feel nervous, Ian? I mean, obviously you've been in lots and lots of pressure situations, but there's only so many, tickets for and places at Portrush. Do you feel a bit of nerves or not?
I was excited to play. I think, for me to try and give it another go to try and make the Open Championship was an extra special feeling because Luke was in the field. I'll definitely give it another go next year. I think Luke's obviously going to give it a go. And hopefully, who knows, would it be a last hurrah of another major? If that was the case, I'll be pretty proud if Luke and I can make it. So if I didn't make it, I'll definitely be on the bags for Luke if he does make it. So I guess we've got 2 chances.
Excellent.
Brilliant, that'd be so good.
Sam, you had a DQ, didn't you? You got halfway round yesterday and decided at 7 over you weren't going to Portrush.
Yes, I did. I had probably some of the worst hours of my life. So we flew back. We had an event in Dallas last week. Landed Monday at 4 p.m.-ish, and then went up to West Lancs. And I was a little worried about the jet lag, but I was able to get to sleep at like 10:30, 11 o'clock-ish. And then, unfortunately, the fire alarm went off at 1:03 a.m. So we had to all go outside, and I was up until 5:30 in the morning for a 6 o'clock alarm. And it was top 3 worst I've ever felt on a golf course, honestly. Like, I didn't expect to get out of before it started that this was going to be a brutal day. I didn't feel great. I felt a little dizzy and stuff, but, hopefully in the future, I'll be back to
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite tournaments in the world.
And I imagine part of your Majestics team, Ian, finally, there's a bit of football banter flying around. You have a bit of Forest and Sam's Manchester United, your Arsenal. So,
unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know, they're spending some money. They could be on their way back. Who knows? But, so do you get stuck into each other now and again when the results come in?
Yeah, there's always plenty of banter between the boys. Sam's been quite quiet this year. I don't have a lot to cheer about finishing second and trophyless, but Lee's always pointing to that 1 star on the shirt, which we need to get to at some point. But it's a great team atmosphere, great vibe. The boys have a lot of fun, and obviously we have it all season long as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, guys, we'll let you go. Enjoy your afternoon. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on. Cheers, guys.
There are Ian Poulter and Sam Horsfield there from the Majestics team up at St George's. Apologies for Sam's lines. A bit of extraneous noise.
Next to each other.
No, I think it's just you've got all the outer noise coming from his mic. I think one of those things. But I think we got the gist of it. He didn't get much sleep last night, but yeah, he got through 9 holes and
sounded tough.
No, that'll do. I'm off. So still to come, we're going to be having a chat with Kelly Smith, former England superstar, of course, in women's football, and we're going to be looking ahead to the European Championships that get underway this evening. England and Wales play their first games back-to-back on Saturday, and we'll have commentary of both of those. We'll have commentary of all the England and Wales games and all the latter stages of the tournament. Lots of content coming back from Switzerland as it gets underway tonight. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Get thousands of products delivered with Fast Track on the Toolstation app. Next stop, Toolstation.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Just before we chat to Kelly Smith, look into the Women's Euros. Let's check in once again with Lisa O'Sullivan at Wimbledon.
Looking good over on court number 3, where Sonia Kartel's taken the first set against Bulgaria's Victoria Tomova. Looking really comfortable out there. 6-2 the score. Nice double break in that first set as well. Bit of a tough test on court number 1 for Cameron Norrie, though. He's just dropped the first set 6-4 to Francis Tiafoe, who is really inspired this year by the 50th anniversary of Arthur Ashe's landmark win in the men's singles, and has promised that he wants to go deep into the tournament. The American is ahead by a set.
Thanks very much, Lisa. So, Women's Euros gets underway this evening, and here to look ahead to it, look at England's chances, is an England legend, 117 caps for her country. It's Kelly Smith. Hi, Kelly.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, we're good. We're good, thank you. Before we come on to the European Championships, let's talk a little bit about the research that you've been involved in with EE. I said it's a bit of a recurring theme today, getting young people involved in the sport, and the research says that getting involved in football and participating has been good for girls' mental health.
Yes, that's right. 93% of girls who are involved in football, through the research that EE have done, report feeling more confident. And also 72% said that they feel equipped to cope with negative pressures of social media. And being online can be challenging for teenagers. So these figures are really improving, and good to see, because, you know, like we know, so I've got 2 young kids. I'm a little bit worried about them being on social media. And for me, confidence and resilience is what needs to be taught at a very young age, and certainly this campaign shows that.
I wonder if it's also a fitness thing, and that sort of endorphin rush you get when you're that little bit fitter, and those sort of happy hormones that must feed into it.
Yeah, being outside, playing, kicking a ball with your friends, working towards a common goal of trying to win, wins and losses, the emotions of it, the camaraderie that you have with your team. I think football is the ultimate sport, the best sport in the world for me, and it's certainly helped me growing up. I wasn't the most confident young girl growing up, but playing football gave me confidence. It made me resilient, because I was kicked off of 2 boys' teams for being the best player, for being a girl. So yeah, if I didn't have football, I wouldn't have been where I wouldn't have played for England and Arsenal and reached the levels, had that confidence, should I say.
Yeah, that's true. There's still work to be done, though. I was reading a survey this morning. It says only 7% of women after a certain age play team sports. There's a big, you probably know this, a big drop-off range, big drop-out range. And that's something we need to address, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's not a high enough number. Like we just talked about, being outside, getting the endorphins going is so good for you mentally. You feel physically good when you work out. Whether it's at the gym, whether it's a team sport, whether it's netball, hockey, whatever it is, I think playing sports builds your confidence. It makes you feel better.
I was going to say, Kelly, you must have been touched last week. Ian Wright was asked about why he was so interested in women's football and why he got so into it. And he put it down to you, watching you, which I thought was a really nice thing for him to say.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Saw him a couple of days ago, a TV gig that we were both doing. He's always been an idol of mine, and I always looked up to him because of his energy, his enthusiasm. He's always been a big supporter of women's football. Way back when I was at Arsenal, he would know players before my generation: Hope Powell, Marianne Spacey, Brenda Sampari. He was in tune with it, and he's just been such an advocate for women's football all across the board, and I can't speak highly enough of him. And he's a good friend of mine now. It's funny because he was my idol, and now he's my mate. He calls me Kells. No one in the world calls me Kells, only he calls me Kells.
He's a lovely guy. Really, we used to work here, of course. He's a terrific bloke.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are we feeling, Kelly, going into this from an England point of view?
I feel very confident. I know everyone's talking about the two players retiring, Mary Earps and Fran Kirby, and then the loss of Millie Bright. But I think that a good addition to the teams are Alex Greenwood, who's back from injury, Lauren Hemp, and also Lauren James. Look at the positives. Yes, they haven't had the most successful build-up in terms of losses, but they beat Jamaica. I know it's a lower international side, no disrespect to them, but we had 6 different goal scorers. I was up at St George's Park last week watching them train, had lunch with the players, seemed very relaxed, very calm. The younger players have settled in, embedded them in. It seems like a good buzz around the team. They're in Switzerland now, and that's where they wanted to be. Get your feet on the country that you're playing in, and then get your surroundings, get your hotel room, know your training pitch, get the tactics this week. I'm sure I'll be doing a lot of video in the team meetings, individual and tactically as group unit training. And look ahead to the big game on Saturday against France.
The atmosphere should be great. The advanced ticket sales are really remarkable for this tournament.
You said they're better than they were in
Switzerland.
England.
Have really embraced this tournament, which is a good sign, I think.
Yeah, and especially how it's so expensive out there. I know a lot of the families are struggling financially to get themselves out there. So it is an expensive country, and it's so pleasing to see that the ticket sales are really good. Hopefully most stadiums will be sold out. We get to watch it back here on the terrestrial TV stations. Just hoping that England can get that first win. That's so vital for me against France. France are a good side. I think England have a really tough group. But look, all eyes on that first game against France, who are equally as good as England.
They're in a bit of a transitional period. Uma was telling us yesterday, who's gone off, one of our team, Uma Gurav, was saying that the manager's gone in, got ideas of their own, and has jettisoned some pretty big players. So it's interesting times for France. It's not a settled situation for them, is it?
No, it's not. And any time France are in a Euros or a World Cup or an Olympics, they're always tipped to potentially get to the final, and they've always had that choke. They've always choked, and they've been labelled that over the last 4 or 5 tournaments. Probably should have done better than they have. And I think those players now in this environment are tired of that label. So that's an added incentive for them to really do well this tournament. They've got that in, that tag that they want to get rid of.
Few people have been saying don't write off the Germans, but we say that before every tournament. But everybody's talking about Spain, etc. as the biggest worry from an England point of view. But we know what it's like when we play Germany. It's always tough, and they're going to be pretty dangerous as well, aren't they?
They are. They're always a top nation at every tournament. They are so difficult to beat, so tactically well trained. And Spain, they've got 2 of the best players in the world in Putellas and Bonmati. I know she's just coming out of hospital with meningitis, but if she can be fit, she is, if not the best player in the world. So good technically, makes that team tick. I think this is going to be the best Euros ever. Every year I say that, every couple of years I say that, because the game advances and grows every year. So there's 4 teams that potentially could win it for me: Germany, England, Spain and France.
Okay, but you're going to go for England, I take it.
I think I have to. I've been, like I said, I was in camp. I know I know the players, especially the Arsenal players, have a connection with them there. They seem focused, ready, driven. And Lauren James is a key for me. I know she's not going to start any game probably because of the lack of minutes and time for Chelsea, but she looks sharp, she looks hungry, and she looked good against Jamaica. And if you get her on the ball in threatening spaces around the box, she's got an inch perfect pass that can deliver and even come up with a goal herself.
Brilliant. Kelly, good to talk to you. Enjoy the tournament.
Thank you, guys.
Kelly Smith, their England legend. Good to hear her in confident mood around England, having been in the camp. We'll kick off our coverage tonight with the hosts. It's not the two teams, so not the hosts in the first match tonight. It's Iceland-Finland, but 8 o'clock, Switzerland v Norway. That's live on talkSPORT. The hosts in action for the first time. And Norway, Gemma Granger, I think it's the name of the only English coach in the tournament is the Norway coach. Okay. So, yeah, her team in action this evening. And Norway, generally been over the years a good side. Yeah, previous World Cup winners. So anyway, that's all to come on talkSPORT this evening. Tim Key makes a welcome return at the studio. Actor, comedian, poet, friend of the show, Liverpool fan. He has made a film that's been a kind of real big word of mouth hit. And we'll be chatting to Tim about that when he pops in the studio shortly. Cricket fans across the country are hoping for another classic between England and India this week. The second test is now well underway at Edgbaston, with Ben Stokes again winning the toss and fielding first. Former England bowler Phil Tufnell says the Bazballers have a newfound maturity.
I think they've just dialed it back a little bit and they're playing smart. There was a couple of sort of instances when the pressure came on, they lost a couple of wickets, and instead of just sort of like pushing through and sort of trying to smash their way out of it, they just absorbed the pressure and then went again. So I think this England side is a good side at the moment, and they've learned a little bit and they're playing smart cricket.
On to football now, and Real Madrid have already made a profit on Trent. He set up the only goal for Xabi Alonso's men in their 1-0 win over Juve at the Club World Cup. A place in the quarter-finals has earned Real £10 million. But Ali McCoy says Trent will face a battle to start at right-back for the Galacticos.
I mean, do we automatically think that Danny Carvajal is going to go away here with a fight? No chance. None whatsoever. I mean, he scored. I was at the Champions League final, was at Wembley when he scored against Dortmund. Carvalho's a very, very good player. Clearly coming, you know, at the wrong end of his career age-wise. But he's not going to go anywhere with a fight, Al.
We're expecting João Pedro's move to Stamford Bridge to be confirmed today for £60 million. talkSPORT's Alex Crook is across that one.
The reason he's gone to Chelsea is because he thinks it gives him the best possible opportunity to make himself a guaranteed starter when it comes to the World Cup for Brazil next summer. I'm intrigued by this signing because, again, if you look at his numbers and his season, I'm not sure he pulled up that many trees for Brighton last season.
Some centre-back news now. Jared Branthwaite has signed a new contract at Everton until 2030. The club rejected 2 offers from Man United, of course, last summer. And Jarell Quansah's move from Liverpool to Leverkusen has been confirmed for £35 million. He's also signed a 5-year deal. We've got plenty more content at talkSPORT.com.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Ollie Kling joins us a little bit later on. We're going to talk transfers. Alex Yee of triathlon fame is also a big Palace fan, and he's in a sort of WhatsApp group with Mark Gay and other Palace players. So we'll see what we can glean from that and other matters besides. And joining us now, though, we're delighted to say, making a welcome return to the studio, actor, comedian, poet, filmmaker, added to the list. It is Tim Key. Good afternoon, Tim.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to see you.
I did see Alex Yee live once. Have you ever seen him live?
I'm doing triathlon, I think. Yeah.
Well, no,
You ever seen,
Not a Glastonbury.
you tend not to say that. You ever seen him live?
He just ran
He's
round.
great.
He ran round Glastonbury. He cycled
I
around.
prefer his studio work. Yeah, seen him live. He's great live.
Hampstead Heath.
Oh, did you?
Oh, he tore it up. Brilliant. It was racing against my brother. My brother never stood a chance. He's quick. Yeah, anyway,
he would be,
we
wouldn't he?
can't just talk about Alex Yee.
No, not really.
We're going to play a bit of the Ballad of Wallace Island, which has been out, for about a month now?
Yeah, a month, yeah.
I was saying to you, I saw it in the cinema and I absolutely loved it.
You owe him, I think, how much were the tickets?
Yeah,
you owe him
well,
£22.
Well, I get a reduction.
I think he got an 08. Okay,
no,
sorry.
I get the OAP
Might be slightly
reduction.
less than that, Tim.
Yeah, it was about 17 quid, but I felt it was money well spent.
Well, very
Yeah,
good,
that's
thank you.
right.
Good to get out of the house, isn't it?
Would you have given it back to him if he didn't enjoy it?
Of course I would.
Yeah. Guaranteed refund.
That's our business model.
Let's play you a bit of a clip of the trailer of the Ballad of Wallace Island. Here it is.
No, it isn't. The great Herb Maguire. Coming all the way out there without your roadies. Which brings me to the thorny issue of payment. Where will the audience be? He said there'd be 100. I said less than 100. Is it just you? Yeah. Right. I'm literally playing for one guy. I'm going to have to take out a restraining order. Can you shut the door? Absolutely. No, I meant... Oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm not really used to having guests.
Yes, so that's a Ballad of Wallace Island, which has been a real kind of word-of-mouth hit, hasn't it? You must be chuffed the way that in this sort of month, 5 weeks, everybody's loved it and been very positive about it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't believe it. Me and Tom, we're sort of overwhelmed. Because you make it took us 18 years to make it. We made a short film in 2006 and then turned it into a feature maybe 3 years ago, and then released this year. And then you just want to be proud of your own film, and then anything beyond that, like it going into cinemas was kind of huge for us. We never knew it would go into cinemas. Thought I'd just go straight online or whatever. And then, people have started to be really nice about it, and it's stayed in the cinemas, and it's going in more cinemas now. Right. So it's kind of, we can't quite believe what's happening.
So you said you made a feature, and is this what we're seeing now?
Yeah, this is the feature. So we made a short years ago, and it's just a two-hander with me and Tom, and we loved it. I mean, and so for like 5 years later, we were like, we should make a feature of that. Then 10 years later, then 15 years later.
Wow.
And then eventually, our director who directed the short, he came back to live in London. And we, just got a bit of momentum and just wrote it and made it.
And got Carrie Mulligan on board.
That helped. That did.
She was very good.
That must have been a great... I mean, how did that come about then?
So she'd emailed me about 5 years ago about something else.
Right.
And I'd kept the email address.
Sneaky.
Pinned it onto my corkboard. And then, we wrote this new character, Tom's love interest from, back in the past. And, we made a list of our favourite actors, and Carrie was at the top of it. And I said, well, I can email her. And Tom and Griff were like, well, I don't imagine you can. And then I emailed her, and she emailed back straight away and said I'd love to read it.
Wow.
Yeah, you just never know who's kind of, whose radar you're on and who's open to, reading these things. But
and it got lost in the world of agents and stuff. Maybe it never would have found its way to her.
Yeah, you've got to be professional. But I sent it just to her, but then said, I'd like to obviously send it to your agent to send you the script. And she said, yeah, perfect. So after that, it was all above board. But
Brilliant.
that first contact was just lucky that she reached out to me so I could reach back out to her.
I don't know if you saw the Guardian review of the film. It was very interesting. It was about, she loved the movie, but also said it's about what being British means today. I thought it was quite interesting.
What was she saying? Because I saw the headline, but you don't like to read your own review.
No, but just about...
She might have stuck the knife in halfway through.
Just about the self-deprecation and the whole thing of it, the modesty of it, and I thought it was really interesting.
It does feel, it does feel to me like a very British film. It's it's very quirky and very idiosyncratic, very small, and not even like an England of like a metropolis. It's kind of like a throwback to, it's on a little island. But then we opened it in America at Sundance, and they responded really well to it. They loved it, but. Yeah, well, even then, me and Tom were like, "This can't be its natural home." In England, obviously, then everyone gets all of the references to Monster Munch and stuff.
The music was good too.
Yeah,
that's Tom Basden.
Yeah, he's written all of
Tom
that.
Basden. Yeah, he is insanely talented. So he wrote, about 5 songs for the short film years and years ago, and then when we got the feature, he then had written. Everything he'd written for the last 15 years, he's choosing some of that to go in and then tops it up with some more pertinent stuff to the film.
Did it help when you two have worked together for years and years doing sort of sketch comedy, about 20 odd years or whatever? So a lot of there's some great dialogue between you two when he first comes to the island and stuff. So obviously you're very comfortable together and working together.
I love working with him, and in a way more than anyone that I've met. We used to be in a sketch group in like 2004, 2005. So it's been a long while in the making. But all of that relationship where you're just doing new material above the Head and Chickens and things for years, you get a shorthand and a way of working with someone. And I think we both find each other really funny.
Well, that helps.
I won't give the end away as I did once with your show in Edinburgh.
That's great, isn't it? Yeah.
I had to cancel the rest of the run.
There's a great twist in the end, and this is what happened. Oh dear,
it was bad. I felt bad doing that.
So is it still in cinemas now?
Amazingly, it's sort of clinging on for dear life.
And
I
then
think it's in a few more now.
And then it will go to the streamers.
It'll stream at some point. I don't know when that happens, but
it's on the pre-order list. I noticed on Sky yesterday.
Oh, is it?
So you can pre-order.
Oh, there you go.
I'm old-fashioned though.
He likes to go.
Well, I
love seeing it.
Keeps him out of the cold for a couple of hours.
True.
But it's interesting because I heard someone talking about why you would go to the cinema, and I think there is a sort of element of there's a film where you have to see it on the big screen. And I think people sometimes think that's blockbusters and car chases and explosions. But actually, seeing a film like this on the big screen, where you're amongst other people and people are like... Because it is a bit of a tearjerker at times, and it is nice to experience something, with a group of people.
It's interesting that when you did the short, and the reason he wrote it, there wasn't a romantic angle. I take it was a bit stalkery that you sort of get this guy to come to the island do a one-man show for you. It's a different dynamic, isn't it?
It is a bit stalkery. There's one moment in that film, in the short, where I'm stood on a hill looking down at the house, and it does look like the next scene is going to be
fear.
Yeah, it's a little bit. But no, in the short, there was the large part of it was like a friendship forming between two men, and I think that happens in the feature as well.
Yeah.
But at the heart, you now have.
It's filmed in Wales, wasn't it?
Filmed in Pembrokeshire.
Very cold or something.
Pretty cold. Pretty cold, pretty unreliable weather. But some, sunny intervals, and managed to get it done.
Ballad of Wallace Island, streaming soon, but still at cinemas. If you want to go and see that, you should do. Now you've come in with your new book of poetry.
I'm armed with my book.
It's called LA Baby, I don't know how much you can tell us.
I can tell you anything you like.
So you can tell us about projects.
Oh no, I can't tell you that.
What sent you to LA?
Oh, well, I got cast in an American TV show. Yeah. And in the book, that's always described as an undisclosed project, because when I was writing the book, I couldn't talk about it to anyone.
Right.
It did have to be quite secretive. I think I can say now.
Okay.
There's a spin-off from the American Office called The Paper. And I've got cast in that. So I went to LA last September.
Yeah.
And then, I was a bit kind of... it's difficult to find your feet in a new city, and LA is quite a specific place. And so in the first sort of week or two, I just started writing poems and things, and tucking my way into dive bars and stuff, as a way of kind of just staying sane.
Did you do any gigs out there? Did you do any sort of poetry reads? Or
no, and I do sometimes do that, but I think this time I went flat out on just doing the part as best I could, and then writing the book on the side. And then gradually, obviously you become friends with people, and I actually had a really nice time. But now the book was underway, and so I kind of ploughed myself into it and wrote a book.
Have you started the series of this? Or?
This was the series.
Oh, you were doing the series out there.
Yeah, so series by day and then book by night.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
The poems are always quite whimsical, often a bit sweary, but always
but you know the time of day, Tim.
Yeah. No, but they are very funny and beautifully illustrated. You work with
I work with Emily Juniper,
don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to read
go for it, Tim.
This one's quite brutal.
Okay.
This is after suffering a setback. But, so it's dramatic.
Okay.
It's called The Wounded. Prostrate on the floor, a leopard, wounded, his fur lank with blood, a pulse of sorts still bubbling through its arteries, a pained breath honking through its nostrils, shifting sand from where its skull hit the deck, a Dodgers baseball cap upon its head, a UK passport in its pocket, a claw getting traction in the dust. Its knees whir into action, its thighs harden like resin. The beast claws itself to its feet.
Well, there we are.
Not particularly funny, is it?
No. You're a very low moment.
No, I've got a
you're in a Denny somewhere.
I think your listeners are into this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to patronise them with one of the underarms.
Do some swearing ones, Tim. Do some of your sweary ones.
Some of your sweary ones are often about sport, though, about football.
I've done stuff about sport. Yeah.
Are you doing any more around sitcoms in the States and stuff? Are you doing any more work with Alan Partridge, with Steve Coogan?
The great Steve Coogan, please. Yep. There's one coming out. I don't know when that...
Really?
I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, but...
Right.
We definitely shot something.
Okay.
And we definitely have a big row with Alan Partridge, my character does.
Oh, really?
It's spicy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you just I just love being involved in any capacity. I think this one is like a bit more disparate and sort of documentary-y.
Right.
But I got to do one day, and so it's quite good. You just go in and just lock horns with the big man.
What about working then on a big sort of American show compared to the sort of British stuff you've worked on with Steve?
It's a good question. It is totally different. I was shooting in Universal Studios on the lot, so it's kind of like it is literally... In your break, you can get in a golf buggy and go up to see Jaws. You can see the set of Jaws.
Really?
Yeah. You see the lake.
Did you do that?
Yeah. Amazing if you can do it, and I didn't.
Yeah. Never really bothered. That would have been quite a specific thing you didn't do, wouldn't it?
So I kind of think that's one of the differences, is you just feel this kind of weight of things that have been made there, that you're sort of on the shoulders of giants. And then actually shooting it,
It's not a real shark, Tim.
It's not a real shark.
Yeah,
It looks it, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and every like 20 minutes.
And they look a bit ragged and shonky. It's been there since about 1974.
Every 20 minutes, it lurches out of the water.
Yeah, I've seen it as a punter with the kids.
I wouldn't normally mention this, but you are talking about sharks. I don't know if you saw yesterday. A dolphin. They found this dolphin. It's a killer dolphin, a murderer.
Oh, no.
That's a shark.
Well, you can always get a rogue dolphin.
No, it murdered one of its own.
That's a shark.
It murdered one of its own.
Yeah.
And then fishermen were astounded when this dolphin got hold of a shark, murdered it, and threw it into the boat.
Hang on.
Was it in the boat, the dolphin?
For some reason, they pixelated the photo of the shark that had been killed. I don't really know why.
It's not often you hear the word murder talking about an animal, is it?
No, it's not.
Murder, do you think was it premeditated?
Yeah. They think it's a rogue dolphin. That's what they think.
I take it went no comment in the interview, did the dolphin, despite all the photographic evidence.
No click.
So you don't get this anywhere. You won't get this in LA.
No.
When you go and do WKPR LA.
I like talking about dolphins with you, Andy.
Yeah. So the new book is out now, is it?
New book comes out on Friday. Actually, you can order it now from utterandpress.co.uk and in shops from Friday, yeah.
Fantastic. And you doing any poetry gigs? You doing any gigs with the book?
Doing one on tomorrow evening in conversation with the great John Kearns.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, in the Underbelly Boulevard, 9:15 tomorrow. That sort of launches it. And then... back to Soho Theatre next week for a new show.
There was a limited edition of one of the books. I remember buying one for my son. It was a sort of illustrated by Emily. I think sort of signed by you.
You're making a lot of money out of Andy.
I feel guilty about ruining the show.
Yeah, but I know. But I don't come on it to speak to your listeners. I'm just trying to sell stuff to Andy.
You could have done this in a phone call.
I could have just messaged him.
Yeah, you could have just messaged him.
Send him a
You got
link.
anything on Amazon?
He'll buy any old. You ain't got an old pair of socks you don't want anymore. He'll buy any old tot off of you, Tim, I tell you. Well, lovely to see you as always.
Always nice to see you.
And buy Tim's new book, LA Baby, and go and see The Ballad of Wallace Island. We'll see you soon. Thanks for coming in.
See you soon. Thank you.
Tim Key there. From Tim Key to Alex Yee, you've got to have a system, as a great man once said. And we're going to be chatting to Alex, bit of Palace, bit of getting kids into triathlon, amongst other things. Transfer chat a little bit later on, and Tim Vickery going to be joining us to look at the world of South American football. That's all to come. We're here with Toolstation. Download the Toolstation app for fast-track delivery on thousands of products. Next stop, Toolstation.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
chat to Alex Yee. Let's cross to Lisa O'Sullivan, watching Wimbledon for talkSPORT. Lisa.
Yeah, and celebrating more British success, because it's been a great 9 months or so for Sonia Cartel, winning her first WTA title and peaking inside the world's top 50. And after dumping out the 20th seed Yelena Ostapenko on Monday, she's booked a place in the third round for the second year running, beating Victoria Tomova of Bulgaria 6-2, 6-2. On court one, Cam Norrie's making a fight of it against the 12th seed Francis Tiafoe, trailing by a set though, 4 games all in the second, and Katie Bolter will follow him onto court number 1, one of 7 Brits in action today.
Thanks very much, Lisa. As we said earlier on, a bit of a recurring theme today with many of our guests, Ian Poulter and Kelly Smith, is getting kids into sport and the positivity of kids doing sport. And picking up on that now is a multiple Olympic and world champion triathlete and indeed Palace fan, Alex Yee. Good afternoon, Alex.
Good afternoon. Thanks very much for having me on.
Pleasure. Yeah, we were chatting to Ian Poulter and Sam Horsfield. They're at St George's getting kids into golf. And that's what you're trying to do at state school level, to get kids interested and give kind of expose them, if you like, to triathlon.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first event of the Lewisham to the World charity that I'm setting up. It's about young people being able to taste what I was able to do and was able to find my success. But it's not just about that, it's about them finding their purpose and their why. And for me, the vehicle was triathlon, but I want people to basically just be curious, and hopefully these kind of events can break down barriers to facilities which are hard to reach within the South London community, and allow kids to believe in themselves.
But were you a runner first, Alex? Was that your sort of route in?
No, so I started in an event exactly the same as this. It was called the Chorus Kids of Steel. I just tried out on a taster day when I was 8 years old and never really looked back.
Wow.
Definitely my why wasn't to be competitive or anything like that. It was very much social, but as time went on, that definitely changed. And I think that's why things like this are so important, because they give the kids the taster of something a little bit different. And the most important thing is that they become curious about different things. But it doesn't have to be swimming, cycling, running. It doesn't have to be triathlon, but it just, hopefully it can, drum up something and some sort of emotion within them.
So presumably, I mean, this is a junior version. What do the kids actually have to do with this?
Yeah, so the kids are swimming, cycling and running today. So they're swimming in a swimming pool. It's all kind of under 1 meter depth, so they can put their feet down at any time. So you don't have to be a very proficient swimmer. You can definitely wade along the bottom. And then they come out of the water and they're taken through a little bit of a safety briefing before they then ride a 1 kilometer course, help with their safety helmet and everything like that. And then they deliver their bikes back and then run a 400-meter run just to the finish line, just to the adulation of the Lewisham crowd.
That's brilliant.
You are a Palace fan as well, so we understand you've got Pally with a few of the players.
Yeah, definitely, and part of this is using success stories to fuel success stories. So for me, it would be a dream to have someone like Mark Gahey, who is now, somebody who I guess I can call a friend, but also a person who grew up in Lewisham, to have him as a success story to show kids that things are possible, and it doesn't matter where you grow up, there are success stories no matter where you are.
Yeah, I see Palace are looking potentially to sign a centre-half today. I mean, I know he's a mate of yours, and I'm not expecting inside info, but I'm sure you'd like him to stay if possible at Selhurst, wouldn't you?
I certainly would like that, yeah. I think he's been a leader for the team for the last year, and I think it would definitely be a shame to lose him, especially after the run of form that we found at the end of this year.
Yeah, no, they had a tremendous end to the season, no question about it. Just interested, have you ever done the Ironman in Hawaii?
I haven't, no. Long courses is something I've actually started trying yet. I would love to give LA the best shot to get to that start line and race there. And then after that, I'd definitely be interested in doing the Ironman in Kona.
Yeah, because we spoke to Billy Munger, just after he'd done it, and it was an incredible achievement by him. So it looks grueling in the extreme.
Yeah, most definitely.
What's next for you then? You've got is it the World Championships coming up?
Yeah, so I've got a few triathlon races coming up within the World Triathlon Series, and then I'm potentially looking at doing a few more run races at the end of the year. Everything for me now is all in context of just being able to push on my sport the best I can within triathlon, and hopefully just lead me to, I guess, the best possible place I can be in 2028.
And finally, you're still dining out on that cup final win at Wembley. I take it you went.
I definitely did go, yeah, and I felt like we've waited long enough that we can have 6 months of enjoyment at least.
Nice, Alex.
It's looking good.
Yeah, all the best. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There we are, Alex Yee there down in his native Lewisham in London, and looking to put a bit back in the community. Nice thing to do.
No wickets yet, as we've been broadcasting, but
as we said, that would safely happen.
There have been 3 incredibly close LBW decisions. 2 probably were out, and the umpire didn't give them.
We'll have a chat with Sam Allard, who's watching it all unfold. Actually, we can go to Sam now. It's 128 for 2, Sam, and as we were saying last time we spoke to you, I think on the opening day of the test, there were no wickets during our 3 hours of this show. we're hoping for better. But how are England bowling?
Yeah, it's India 128 for 2, and it's tough going at the moment for the England bowlers. I think in the morning session, in the first half an hour in particular, there was a little bit of swing, a little bit of movement, and it was tough going for the India batters. But in this afternoon session, the sun's come out, and this really does look like a batting day. It's a flat wicket. Jaiswal's got 76, Shubman Gill's got 18, and India look in complete control. There was just one big LBW appeal. Brian Carr's bowling a full ball to Shubman Gill. We tried to whip it off his patch to the leg side. Would have been plumb, but he got some bat on it, so he survived. Other than that, in this afternoon session, both Jaiswal and Gill look pretty comfortable. Jaiswal, we know when he gets in, he likes to go big. He's got 76, Gill's got 18. This partnership worth 34 runs. And yeah, England at the moment, gents, just struggling really to try and break this partnership. And India going along pretty nicely at 129 for 2.
It's hard to write them off in light of what happened.
You can't say anything,
because we know they love to chase.
I think it's bonkers, but there we go. It works for them, and so they'll carry on doing it until it doesn't work for them. Yeah, this
10 out of 11
with the
times.
Weather forecast and the pitch looks so flat. I think it's going to be a draw this game, but we'll see.
Well, a bit of rain, I think, in Birmingham on Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, 10 out of 11 times. Ben Stokes has been the skipper. He has decided to have a bowl first. They like to chase, as we say.
They do.
Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that for you. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We're going to look at some of the transfer stories of the day shortly with Ollie Clenk. He's right across that. And then we're going to get a bit of an insight. We've been talking a lot about Ollie Tarvett, and he's the wild card entry. He's going to be taking on Alcaraz at Wimbledon. And he sacrificed just shy of £100,000 because he's on a scholarship in the States at college playing tennis in San Diego. We're going to chat to someone who went down that same route a few years back. And she can completely understand why he's playing the long game and not insisting on the 99k and dropping out of uni. She'll tell us more about that a little bit later on in the show.
Cricket fans across the country are hoping for another classic between England and India this week. The second test is now well underway at Edgbaston, with Ben Stokes again winning the toss and fielding first. Former England bowler Phil Tufnell says the Bazballers have a newfound maturity.
I think this England side is a good side at the moment, and they've learned a little bit and they're playing smart cricket.
On to football now, and Real Madrid have already made a profit on Trent. He set up the only goal for Xabi Alonso's men in their 1-0 win over Juve at the Club World Cup. A place in the quarter-finals has earned Real £10 million. But Ali McCoy says Trent will face a battle to start at right-back for the Galacticos.
Carvalho's a very, very good player. Clearly coming, at the wrong end of his career age-wise. But he's not going to go anywhere with a fight, Al.
We're expecting João Pedro's move to Stamford Bridge to be confirmed today for £60 million. talkSPORT's Alex Crook is across that one.
The reason he's gone to Chelsea is because he thinks it gives him the best possible opportunity to make himself a guaranteed starter when it comes to the World Cup for Brazil next summer. I'm intrigued by this signing because, again, if you look at his numbers and his season, I'm not sure he pulled up that many trees for Brighton last season.
We've got plenty more content at talksport.com.
It's time to look at the very latest in the transfer market now. Ollie Clinker's joined us. Good afternoon, Ollie.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Not too bad. We'll come on to your chat with John Cena, the wrestler, yesterday. A bit of red carpet work. But before that, a story today suggesting that Bayern Munich could be interested in signing Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, he's on their list of targets. We think they were impressed by his loan move at Aston Villa. They have got other targets, including Nico Williams. But, I mean, both of those players, I think, who Barcelona are interested in, would maybe prefer to move to Barcelona at the moment. But, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. It might be that if Nico Williams goes to a certain club, Rashford ends up at the other, because especially with the Barcelona situation, you then have Rafinha and Nico Williams in front of you in terms of the left-hand side, whereas with Bayern, you've got Sane leaving the club.
Yeah.
So for me, that would make more sense, but that doesn't mean that it's Rashford's top choice, if you know what I mean. I mean, we know that he's very keen to go to Barcelona. In terms of whether it would be a permanent move, I'm not too sure, especially in the case of Barcelona. It'd probably be more likely to be a loan move just because of Rashford's wages and how high they are.
I mean, they've been looking.
Williams also very pricey.
Yeah. Well, they've been looking at Luis Diaz, and they've been knocked back on that. They've also been looking at Rafael, and I think he's got a pretty chunky buyout clause. I mean, it's hard to believe that Rashford could be the cheaper option, but when you consider the wages. But I mean, how much Manchester United likely going to want for him?
No, I think loan's more likely.
Yeah, I think at this stage, it's just going to be like that situation with Villa, where it isn't a permanent move yet.
Okay, now Arsenal feel like they are getting closer to Victor Gyökeres, and he's been apparently telling people that's where he wants to go.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Crook from his Sun Lounger was reporting a bit of this last week, that Gyökeres has told his inner circle that Arsenal's his preferred destination. No real advance though in terms of talks, and obviously they're still in talks with Sesko at the moment, Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, as the window goes on, it feels like to me with Arsenal they're getting their ducks in a row in terms of the squad depth. Announcing Kepa yesterday. Norgard's looking more likely than not, and that's the words of the Brentford
they more or less
director of football.
Said it was happening, didn't they?
It seems like he's on the way. They've brought in Zubimendi too, so that side of things, is looking pretty good. But the longer the window goes on, we're approaching pre-season too. I feel like Arsenal maybe need to speed up this situation and see if they can get this over the line. And when you've got a player who it seems like is so keen on the move, maybe that is the avenue to go down if those talks with Sesko are
I wonder what that says about Amorim and Manchester United, because you'd think it would be a natural fit for him, having been so successful under Amorim, and Manchester United are what they are. So the fact that he doesn't want to go there either says something about his relationship with that, or what he thinks the team will achieve next season.
Or what Amorim thinks of Yorkris. Who knows?
Possibly,
maybe he doesn't think he's a good fit. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially.
Noni Madueke from Chelsea to Arsenal, potentially.
Yeah, he's on a list of targets for Arsenal, because obviously they're not just trying to strengthen in the striker area; they're trying to get some forwards in too. But again, this one I feel is slightly strange.
It doesn't make with Saka and Wary. It makes no sense.
Yes.
What do they need another inverted? He'd be much better for Newcastle.
Yeah, he would, because Newcastle needs more strength in that position. Jacob Murphy had a great season, but they are looking for a new right winger and someone who's going to improve them too. Whereas you're right, Andy. I feel like if he goes to Arsenal, look, Madueke can play on both sides, but I don't think he'll want to play on the left. He wants to play on his strongest side, which is the right. Does he really want to go to Arsenal and be an understudy to Saka, which he definitely would be?
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
Now, Palace, we just talked to Alex Yee about it. They're in for Ousmane Diomande from Sporting, Ivory Coast defender, who looks like he would be coming in
cheap, is he?
For Mark Gay. You're spending 47 million on a defender. That would suggest you're going to have a big money outgoing.
Yes, yeah, he's 21, Diomande. He's very highly rated. He's been chased by some top clubs in the Premier League. You'd imagine Chelsea are among them, Andy, given that they're trying to sign everyone in the world. Before the season.
Not true. I think you'll be seeing a lot of outgoings, a lot of nonsense spoken.
But yeah, he feels like he would be a bit of a coup for Palace in that sense. But you're right, Paul. Obviously, you just spoke to Alex Yee there about Mark Gahey. We know that Gahey doesn't want to sign a new contract at Palace. He's got 1 year left, but it does remain to be seen whether he wants to run that contract down, because we understand that if he does, clubs like Bayern and Barcelona would be interested in snapping him up on a free. But if they're spending that much money, Palace, they're surely going to want to get a fee for him. So it might be that he's on the move.
If not for him, then I mean, they do play three at the back, so it would strengthen their back three. But yeah, for Eze, so that money could come in there, couldn't it?
Yeah.
That's going to be quiet. I mean, there was a talk about Arsenal last week. There was a story the other day suggesting that Tottenham weren't in for him, despite what was being said.
Did you see him playing chess with Richard Branson?
I didn't. No.
On
really?
Holiday, yeah. Very cerebral.
Who was this? Eze you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Who do you think?
I wasn't quite sure.
Wasn't me. Or Ollie.
No, yeah.
Or John Cena.
Well, I'd love to see John Cena playing chess with Richard Branson. Okay, David Fratesi, the sort of defensive midfielder.
That wasn't him either.
That wasn't him. It was definitely him. Okay. Manchester United showing an interest in the Inter player.
It's interest at this stage. He's obviously part of that Inter team that went all the way to the Champions League final last season, and I think this is quite significant, even though it is just interest at this stage, because at the moment Manchester United have looked to improve that front three. They've brought in Cunha. We're still expecting Mbeumo to go through. We know that they're prioritising getting a new number 9 as well, but you think about all the other issues on the pitch, and actually the stark reality at the moment with Manchester United is, as much as they're linked with these players, as much as they are coming in, at the moment they've only signed Cunha and they haven't had any outgoings. So I think it will be welcome news to Manchester United fans that there is some interest in a new midfielder in particular. I feel like midfield and the goalkeeping situation would be the other two priorities at the moment for Manchester United. So Fratesi, someone they are looking at.
And still players staying, not going. Antoine Semenyo signed a new contract at Bournemouth. We know how that works. It doesn't always mean that someone's going to be there to the remainder of the contract, but it certainly safeguards what they're going to get for the player. And Jared Branthwaite, who'd been linked with moves, signing a new contract for Everton. So big for both of those clubs, I think. Yeah,
definitely. I think definitely Everton too, with Branthwaite and the interest he had, and he's a young player. But I feel that when Everton had downturns in form last season, it was when Branthwaite was in the side. We know how talented he is, and it speaks a lot for that project at Everton too, with the new stadium and David Moyes and the new owners. So very encouraging news for them. On Semenyo, again, great for Bournemouth. He's been one of their top performers. He was linked with your Spurs though, Paul, for around 70 million. Is there any part of you that kind of thinks maybe that Spurs got away with not spending too much on him?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they would have spent that much on him. I also think, let's be honest, the way football works, put the word out there that everybody's after your boy and then he gets a bump and you deal.
What a surprise.
That's how football works. We often see it, don't we?
That's very true.
It can't go badly for the player, whatever happens.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Roger Bennett from Men in Blazers later on over in the States. He's a big Evertonian. And happy times, I think. You think they're top 10 next year? Definitely, yeah. Ollie, so you caught up with John Cena, the wrestler. You did a bit of red carpet work yesterday, is that right?
Yeah, I did. He was promoting his new film Heads of State. He's with Idris Elba in it. Sadly, Idris wasn't there yesterday, but John Cena turned up, and because they'd done a bit of the filming in Liverpool,
right?
I asked him if he could give me his best Scouse accent, and here's what he said.
Okay.
John Cena, congrats on the new movie, Heads of State.
Thank you very much.
You did some of the filming in Liverpool, didn't you? Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Can we hear a bit of a Scouse accent from you? If I give you a phrase, though, could you try it?
I'll tell you what, you can try.
I want some chicken and a can of Coke.
I want some chicken and a can of Coke.
There we go. As they'd say, that was boss. Oh,
thank you.
There we are.
Yours was better, I think.
Thanks. Both questionable, but
At least he gave it a go.
He did. I'll tell you what.
Didn't attempt to crutch old and slam on you instead, did he? Really? Get you in a headlock.
The other thing with him is that the big joke with him is that he's invisible because of you can't see me, etc. So everyone always makes a joke of everyone who's watched that clip have gone, who's the interviewer talking to? There's no one there. So what I did was I said, do you want to see a magic trick, John? I gave him the mic and then said, there we go, a floating microphone. And he reacted like someone who's seen that joke quite a few times, I've got to say. But they're both on the talkSPORT Instagram if you want to see it. But lovely guy.
Oh, good stuff. Cheers, Ollie. Thank you.
No worries.
It's all at we've got our ticker, our transfer ticker, all the breaking news at talksport.com. And we've got the transfer insiders tonight. It's a women's football special. Adrian Durham and Tash Dowie, part of our team, bringing the women's Euros. They're with you from 7 o'clock this evening. Thanks, Ollie.
No worries.
We're going to talk tennis next. And Ollie Tarvik in action against Carlos Alcaraz today at Wimbledon. I think it is today. I'm not going mad. I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a wild card entry. He's already won just shy of £100,000 by coming through the first round, but can't claim it. Can only take 10,000 of that because he's at uni in the States on a scholarship. Athena Chrysanthu from The Times trod that path and wrote about it very interestingly today in the paper. So she'll tell us more about that. She understands why he's happy to sacrifice that money at this stage of his career. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Get thousands of products delivered to you with Fast Track on the Toolstation app. Next stop, Toolstation.
plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Let's check in at Wimbledon with Lisa O'Sullivan.
We've had British success already on day 3. Sonny Cartel through to the 3rd round for the 2nd year running. Cam Norrie has levelled things up against Francis Tiafoe, the number 12 seed from the USA. 1 set apiece over on court number 1. And the man whose tennis education came on the road is about to get underway on court 2. 30-year-old Billy Harris earned his place by ranking this year, but perhaps is better known for being the man with a van from the Isle of Man, having plied his trade on the circuit using a transit van to get between events. He's taking on Nuno Borges of Portugal.
There we are. The man with the van from the Isle of Man.
Beautiful, Lisa.
Sensational.
Well
yeah. Now, Ollie, don't call me Oliver Tarvett, in action very soon against the great Carlos Alcaraz. And he won just shy of £100,000 by getting through the first round. But he's not able to take a vast percentage of that. I think up to £10,000 he can take from that, because he's on a US university scholarship in San Diego. Writing in the Times today was Athena Chrysanthou, who's a news editor for the Times and has gone through this process herself and joins us now. Hi, Athena.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, it was a very interesting piece, actually. I'm telling the story of look, it's a tough life. It feels a bit boot campy, but yeah. you get great coaching, and you say it was a positive experience from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, it really was fantastic. It was a really challenging, brutal, but really amazing time in my sort of tennis career. And I think all the players, former and current college players at Wimbledon, really represent exactly how incredible the college tennis experience is and how it actually prepares you, in my personal opinion, so much more for these huge Grand Slam events. And I think finally we're starting to see the fruits of just how amazing the facilities are in the US, the coaching, but also the competitive tennis play as well.
How expensive is it to go through college tennis scholarship like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when you're on a full scholarship, like I was fortunate enough to be on, I didn't have as many expenses myself. My degree and my sort of study materials, all of our kit, everything is included. So colleges have deals with Under Armour or Nike or other sports brands. So we got sort of rackets, shoes and everything. So you really get the full package experience, and it's just about sort of showing up every day and giving 100%. So yeah, I mean, a lot of players for the first time, they came to college and they didn't have to sort of buy their tennis rackets and their equipment and their shoes. And there was, amazing physio facilities and everything like that, all just there at your disposal.
Is it because you're playing for the university that you're kind of approached, you're a good tennis player, and they come to you and say, well, come and play for us and we'll offer you this scholarship, we'll make this happen? Or is it something you apply for? What's the process?
Well, it's really interesting, actually. Right now, there's probably thousands of US college coaches in the country at junior Wimbledon looking to recruit players to go out to the US. And the process starts really early, so at 16 or even earlier. Coaches are looking for junior players who are on the junior circuit, who have a really high International Tennis Federation ranking. And they go to all the events and they actually scout players, just like in other sports, and then you're approached. And you go on recruitment trips. So I went on one to another university and was not offered a scholarship at that university at that time. So I had some other options. But it can also be really difficult to choose the right university for you. Usually you get, offers from between 5 and 8 different American colleges, and you have to choose. So that can be a really difficult decision.
It's interesting, though, because, the American women have done pretty well, but, you think of Sampras and McEnroe and Connors and people like that, but it doesn't seem to be producing a lot of male tennis players, champions, unless I'm missing anybody out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the programs are basically the same in the US for both men and women. There are more scholarships for women than there are men because there's rules, the Title IX rule. There has to be equal amount of scholarships across the sports programs of a range of different sports. And because football is such a big sport over there, it kind of takes away from the scholarships for men. And quite often they don't get 100% scholarship. They might only get 50 or 60, and then their family have to fund the rest, so it also can be quite expensive. But I think the programs have become more competitive now, and the universities are bigger on scale in terms of how many tournaments and events you're playing, and also the quality of the coaching, and assistant coaches stay as well and train the players. So it almost feels like mini Grand Slam circuits, but just in a college setting, and you're also studying at the same time. So I think we will start to see more male players from US college coming through.
Without wishing to insult yours or Ollie Tarvitt's tennis prowess, is this the sort of route that maybe, if you like, the sort of second tier of young tennis players take? Because obviously the top players will get on the tour early, sometimes at sort of 15, 16, and be playing. This is another alternative route. And have there been players that have gone through this system that have trained on to become champions?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So, if you decide that you're going to go straight onto the professional circuit, as soon as you start accepting money, you're ineligible to go to a US college, and you're almost telling yourself that you've put your eggs all in one basket and you almost have to make it as a professional tennis player. A lot of players also left school very young, like I did. I was homeschooled from about 13, 14 to really give 100% into my tennis. And then you sort of think, I want to get my education back. If I get injured or tennis doesn't work out, I'd like to go into something else. But it can be a really tricky one to back yourself so much that you're saying, I will be a professional and I will make a living from doing this now and in the future. Because it can be hard for tennis players who try and don't make it on the circuit to find other things to go into post-tennis career. A lot of them stay in tennis, or a lot of them try other careers, but it can be challenging. It's kind of like starting a new life again, I think.
And finally, I think though that he's earned this money. I think it should be held in trust.
Yeah, we were chatting about this the other day. You kind of feel that maybe it could be held in trust. It does sort of feel slightly unfair. Maybe they will look at the rules around it. Just finally, there you are. You're a news editor at the Times. You didn't go down the professional tennis route. What was the moment? Was there a moment when you could have done? And what was your decision not to pursue tennis?
I was living with some tennis players at the time when I was sort of 16, 17. I was training at the High Performance Centre in Gosling, and I saw the brutality of, what it was to be a professional tennis player, and how, I sometimes say it's like being a freelance journalist, but your whole livelihood depends on if you're winning or not. And if you get injured or other things go wrong, it can really hinder your tennis career. And I thought that I was really happy with the level I was at, and going to America was a whole new experience. I got to play competitive tennis, but I also got to do my degree at the same time. But I still got to sort of take my tennis to the next level and keep improving and keep getting better. And in some respects, I think getting better doing that than I might have done if I'd have tried the tour, because it's incredibly lonely. And the draw of college tennis is all about the team aspect. So it's nice to kind of get that experience when you've spent your whole life being on your own on the tennis court.
And you still play at club level, yeah? You still play tennis?
Yes, so I play for the first team club at Camden Hill, and we play in the Premier League across the Lawn Tennis Association. So I'm still playing competitively almost every weekend, but more doubles than singles. And it's still all of us are mostly former US college players as well.
Wow.
And it's nice to kind of bond over the experience we had. But also being in college makes you a much better doubles player, and you kind of learn that side of the tennis game, whereas you wouldn't if you were just playing, competitive singles most of your life.
Well, enjoyed your piece today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
That's Athena Chrysanthou, their news editor at The Times, who was doing that same sort of scholarship as Ollie Tarvik, who's in action, I think, very soon against Carlos Alcaraz at Wimbledon. Still to come, Tim Vickery will be joining us for a bit of a chat. Roger Bennett from Men in Blazers. Club World Cup, of course, been going on. The Gold Cup has as well. And Maurizio Pochettino, the USA coach, with the World Cup next year, had gone on a bad run. I think they'd lost 4 in a row. But things have picked up in the Gold Cup, which is going on at the moment. And he's a big Evertonian, is Roger, so we'll see if he's feeling optimistic, probably more optimistic. I think this season for Evertonians, you've got to start, you've got to feel so much more optimistic than you have in recent
David
years.
Moyes said he wants to do what Forest did. So,
yeah, well, someone's going to do a Forest, aren't they? And Tim Vickery, that's all to come in the final hour.
Cricket fans across the country are hoping for another classic between England and India this week. The second test is now well underway at Edgbaston, with Ben Stokes again winning the toss and fielding first. Former England bowler Phil Tufnell says the Bazballers have a newfound maturity.
I think they've just dialed it back a little bit and they're playing smart. There was a couple of sort of instances when the pressure came on, they lost a couple of wickets, and instead of just sort of like pushing through and sort of trying to smash their way out of it. They just absorbed the pressure and then went again. So I think this England side is a good side at the moment, and they've learned a little bit and they're playing smart cricket.
On to football now, and Real Madrid have already made a profit on Trent. He set up the only goal for Xabi Alonso's men in their 1-0 win over Juve at the Club World Cup. A place in the quarter-finals has earned Real £10 million. But Ali McCoy says Trent will face a battle to start at right-back for the Galacticos.
I mean, do we automatically think that Danny Carvajal is going to go away here with a fight? No chance. None whatsoever. I mean, he scored. I was at the Champions League final was at Wembley when he scored against Dortmund. Carvalho's a very, very good player. Clearly coming, at the wrong end of his career age-wise. But he's not going to go anywhere with a fight, Al.
We're expecting João Pedro's move to Stamford Bridge to be confirmed today for £60 million. talkSPORT's Alex Crook is across that one.
The reason he's gone to Chelsea is because he thinks it gives him the best possible opportunity to make himself a guaranteed starter when it comes to the World Cup for Brazil next summer. I'm intrigued by this signing because, again, if you look at his numbers and his season, I'm not sure he pulled up that many trees for Brighton last season.
Some centre-back news now. Jarrad Branthwaite has signed a new contract at Everton until 2030. The club rejected 2 offers from Man United, of course, last summer. And Jarell Kwanzaa's move from Liverpool to Leverkusen has been confirmed for £35 million. He's also signed a 5-year deal. We've got plenty more content at talksport.com.
Yes, good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, sticking to our record of not seeing a wicket.
I'm yearning to say wicket in the cricket. How's it 25 years, 26 years? I don't know how they can get that wrong.
This is our 25th year, isn't it?
6th year.
You sure?
Yeah. Started in 2001.
Right.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Am I going mad? Oh, well.
Doesn't
Beginning
matter.
of 2000 doesn't matter. No, not important at all.
That stayed our welcome, however you look at it.
Very much so. Very good point.
Now, you tell me, Andy,
yes,
that Sunderland could make a coaching appointment. This is somebody who's been working at Al Nassr.
Yeah, he's quite an explosive character.
It's our old mate, Luciano Volcano. It's the sort of name you make up on the spur of the moment, isn't it? You're like, what's your name? How old are you? I'm 18. What's your name? You just see a poster of Mount Etna. You say, Luciano Volcano.
He's like Nicholas Jackson, likely to erupt at any point.
Yes. So good luck to the boy Volcano when he arrives at Sunderland.
He's coaching. They're looking at Petrovic as well, the Chelsea keeper on loan. One of the best keepers in Europe last year. But not good enough for Chelsea, apparently. He doesn't fit. The face doesn't fit.
Oh, okay.
What can you do?
Fair enough. Okay.
Luke Littler.
Oh, yeah.
He was on holiday, or he went on holiday yesterday.
Oh,
he was spotted outside Manchester Airport with his girlfriend, Faith Miller. And
you're full of all the goss, aren't you, Andy?
I am.
Yeah.
And he shows his passion for fashion, apparently.
Does he really?
Yeah, not my words. As he sports a watch and a bag totalling more than £8,000.
Right.
They broke it down, really. It was it's very typical Luke Lickler. Luke Lickler.
Luke Lickler.
Luke Lickler.
Luke Lickler.
He's a very good player.
That's the way that, that's the way Ricky Hatton would say it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So basically, he had a watch on for £5,850. So that's a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
A rucksack that was 2,170.
Blimey.
But the rest of his outfit only cost 50 quid.
Okay.
It's very good. It's very
I suppose, yeah, he's put, I mean, I don't know where the T-shirt's Primark, is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
What about that?
Now-
£2,000 on a rucksack.
I know. It's mad, isn't it?
2,170.
I wouldn't, but
No.
there you go. What can you do?
You'd spill your tea on it.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't want to accuse President Trump of being a bit of a grifter, but he's brought out two...
Really?
No, he's brought out a
I
woman's...
don't think you'd be the first.
No, a woman's perfume and a men's cologne.
Nice.
Fight is $199 a bottle. It's so terrible, isn't it? Victory 47, $249 a bottle.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's a lot of money. But I was reading this piece in the Times today. It says Trump has faced criticism regarding his own body odour.
Really?
Harriet Dart there to go at him. I'm not sure.
He had a game of tennis with her, and she had something to say. I never knew that. I've never smelt the man.
No, it was a former Republican congressman from Illinois, Adam Kinzinger.
Oh, yeah.
Or Kinzinger said that Trump's smell was truly something to behold.
Well, that's why he's brought out the range, I'm
never
guessing.
heard this mentioned before.
I think there is, if you go to the website, I think there is quite an extensive range of stuff that you can buy.
Oh, really?
He was in the steaks business at one point. You could buy Trump steaks. It was
Really?
Yeah, that was a short-lived venture, I believe, back in the day.
Terrible.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes. What else have I got? Well, we might do something on this. It was the T-Rex World Championships.
Is this people dressed as Mark Bolan? So what was it?
It wasn't that. It was people dressed as dinosaurs.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sort of like comedy dinosaur.
A mascot
Yeah,
outfit.
a mascot dinosaur.
Like Gunnosaurus.
Basically, Gunnosaurus would have been tremendous. Exactly like Gunnosaurus.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't in this. In fact, the bloke that's in the lead actually looks like Gunnosaurus, but without the kit.
Oh, okay,
He's green.
fair enough.
He's green.
And how long's the race, Andy? Is it like 100 metres or
Yeah,
something?
it looks like something like that.
In Auburn, in Washington. Our record is broken.
Oh, my goodness.
Praise the Lord.
Let's hear the blessed tones of Sam Elliott. I can't wait.
I am so happy to be able to say there's a wicket in the cricket into Hawksbee and Jacobs.
Indeed.
There we go. If you need to break a partnership, who should Ben Stokes bring into the attack? Himself. He gets rid of Yashavshi Jaiswal. Probably not Ben Stokes' best ball. He's short and wide. Jaiswal looks to cut the ball through the offside, and all he could do is edge it behind to Jamie Smith. He goes for 87. Shubman Gill's got 35. Coming to the crease next will be Rishabh Pant, of course, in the first Test match, scoring back-to-back hundreds. But massive wicket for England. It was starting to look all a little bit too comfortable for India. Blue skies, flat wicket here at Edgbaston. Jaiswal goes for 87. Ben Stokes with the wicket. India now 161 for 3.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah.
It's clear that he wasn't right for this game, and he may not even be right for the next game, but it's clear that we do need Jofra Archer.
Yeah. It's all looking a bit
pace.
samey, the attack.
Just something about him when he comes on. I think Stokes was talking about it yesterday, and says, that things happen when he comes on.
Sure.
And I'll never forget that day when, at Lord's, I was there when he hit Steve Smith on the head, and that was one of the most ferocious spells of bowling I've ever seen in my life. So it'd be great if he can recapture that. But
it's interesting that Ben Stokes was talking about why they brought Jofra Archer back and didn't give him another red ball game for Sussex. And he said, look, a lot has changed in the setup. And it's been 4 years since he's played red ball cricket. And it's a very different setup, lots of different faces and everything. So they wanted him back in the frame just to kind of get used to it.
It'll be a shock to his system as well, isn't it? It's one thing bowling 4 overs every time, but,
exactly.
Playing a test match, different altogether.
Exactly, against much better bowling, so much better batting, should I say. So anyway, Rishabh Pant, and he's never boring, so we'll keep an eye on that. Anything can happen. But the third wicket finally for England, 161 for 3 India currently, and England won the toss, and as has been the way under Ben Stokes, decided to have a bowl. Are we going to check in with Lisa? Is that the plan? I think that is the plan, isn't it? Yeah.
She's on the strawberries and cream.
No, of course she's not.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
well
here.
done, Lisa.
I'm here.
Well done, Lisa.
She's there. She never leaves her post. I'm
enjoying your voice getting more and more gravelly, Paul.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that today. I don't quite know why that is. It's getting a little bit of edge to it.
I know, yeah.
A bit Dean Marshall.
I have given you these things that say frog in your throat.
You gave me one of those, Andy, but it seems to have made it worse. So, is Ollie Tarver out there yet against Carlos Alcaraz? He was due on at 3, wasn't he?
Well, but obviously tennis doesn't work that way.
Oh,
you have to finish the match first. So, but I
get
can
him
give
off.
you good news.
He's British. Do they not realise he's British? They just get him off, Lisa.
Arina Sabalenka was making hard work of her match against Maria Bushkova of the Czech Republic, who is very good, I have to say. Bushkova played brilliantly there, but Sabalenka has just at this moment completed a 7-6, 6-4 win, which leaves the court clear for Ollie, don't call me Oliver, to come on and take on Carlitos. So that's going to be an absolute corker. And the sun's come out, it's warm, and everything seems set fair for another brilliant afternoon. I have to say, over on court number 1, former world number 8, Cam Norrie, giving the British fans plenty to cheer about. He's just taken a 2-1 lead over the 12th seed, Francis Tiafoe of the USA. So that's a cracker. And Billy Harris is a set down against Nuno Borges on the day that Sonny Cartel has booked herself a place in the 3rd round for the 2nd year running.
Yeah, did you see Coco Gauff admitted that she was crying after her defeat, but I bet Sabalenka isn't crying that she went out the tournament. I think she's delighted.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? Sorry, Lisa.
I was going to say they hit together here, and Pam Shriver interviewed them while they were hitting on centre court. There's absolutely no problem between the two of them because Coco Gauff is, if someone apologises, she'll say, "Great, thanks very much," and moves on. She's the most grown up around here for being, 21 years old. She seems to have the wisest head of anybody in the women's draw. So, yeah. I think that's great, but yeah, she's absolutely gutted because she really thought that she was going to win it this time. She picked up a title last week and was rightly one of the favourites. But Sabalenka, I think, will be quite pleased that she won't have to play her potentially further down the way.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa, back to you later. Ollie Tarvett and Carlos Alcaraz getting underway very shortly by the sound of it. We're off to the States next. Roger Bennett from Men in Blazers will be joining us. Talk a bit of Club World Cup. The Gold Cup, which is ongoing at the moment. America doing all right after some iffy results from Maurizio Pochettino.
He was under a bit of pressure, but he'll get it right. Did you see that Wimbledon sold out of its famous Panama hats yesterday?
Really?
And you think, who goes to an open event in the weather that it's been the last 2 days and doesn't take a hat?
Well,
it's a bit mad, isn't it, really? I don't get it.
Well, you're a man with no hair, so...
Yes, but I use a product advertised on talkSPORT, which is marvellous.
Oh, really?
Yes, for bald people. I won't say more than that.
Is it called a hat?
No, it's not called a hat.
I was going to say you've been a bit coy about something called a hat.
It's a Factor 50 cream.
Oh, and that's left you hatless, is it?
It has.
Right, fair enough.
It's very good stuff.
Anyway, we'll talk a bit of Everton with our next guest as well. And Tim Vickery will join us to talk South American football, and that's been front and centre at the Club World Cup, of course. But you are listening to Hawksbee and Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. Download the Toolstation app for fast-track delivery on thousands of products. Next stop, Toolstation.
plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Now the wait is finally over as the reunion of the century starts this weekend, and we're giving you a chance to win a pair of Oasis tickets in Manchester on July the 19th. Yes, you heard that right. Oasis Live 25 is sold out, but talkSPORT can get you in, Andy.
Yes, but that's not all. Alongside the tickets, we'll put you up for a night in a hotel. Nice. We'll put $5,000 in your back pocket, completely tax-free. Listen up right now for everything you need to know and how to enter.
All right, Arcade, you have to be over 18 to enter in the UK, excluding Northern Ireland, for the chance to win a pair of tickets to the most electrifying rock and roll reunion of the century, a hotel stay and $5,000 spending money. Text the word Oasis to 83338 by Monday the 7th of July at 11 p.m. and you'll be entered into the draw to go supersonic this summer. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or post your name and number to Oasis Prize Draw, PO Box 3190, Colchester, CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 10th of July. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Good luck, yeah? Sorted.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Off to Rio later on to catch up with Tim Vickery, where I'm sure they're dancing in the streets after the couple of the South American sides are looking in good shape in the Club World Cup.
They are.
And we'll touch on the Club World Cup now. There's a lot of football being played in the States currently. They've got the CONCACAF Gold Cup on, of course, a World Cup next year. And joining us now from the Men in Blazers Medi Network, Evertonian Roger Bennett. Good afternoon, Roger.
Hey guys, it's good to be with you.
Yeah, we're going to come on to Everton in a minute. So good times for Everton for a change. Not always been the case in recent years. But maybe we'll start with the Club World Cup. What have you made of it on your side of the water?
It hasn't exactly broken through and taken America by storm. I think people are a lot more excited for the Oasis tour to crash over here. I mean, for football to really break through in this moment, it's got to be marketed really well. It's got to grab the attention. Part of the challenge in America is there's just so much sport going on. And you've had the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, it's the NFL trade season. That's where the mindset is. And this was a very oddly marketed tournament. They spent a lot of money on it, FIFA, the marketing, but it was like a lot of marketing of Johnny Infantino and Speed, as if the two of them were going to start a live stream business together. It's quite a discerning fan base here now. They watch a lot of football. There's a lot of teams touring. There's a lot of options, and I think really it's a tournament that's had some great moments. It's like one of those Greek animals that's like half horse, half human. It's had some great moments, but I think it's really come across like there's a good tournament here, but it feels like a work in progress, what they call beta testing over in here in the United States. So you've had the empty stadiums, you've had some full moments, you've had some joy, but it's been a bit of a mixed bag.
Better than pre-season tours, though. Better football. I mean, the pre-season games are often, not that
exhibitions.
And Real Madrid, they've had full attendances wherever they've gone, which is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they are the super club in the United States. So there's a discerning market. I remember, 10 years ago, the American fan would travel, across country just to see a Premier League team play. Even though the Premier League team was just going to trot out their youth academy, it's become really quite a discerning audience. Like, they know what they're paying for, they know what they'll go for. And Real Madrid is a brand that here, particularly with the Hispanic audience, that second and third generation American audience, I mean, it is just a cultural juggernaut. So wherever they go, the stadium will be packed. But you've seen, Chelsea have been here a lot. Fans who adore the club, watching them play 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Atlanta to a barely, there was like 12 men and their dog there to watch them. If you market the tournament right, and FIFA, it's broke late, the broadcast of everything felt very flung together. By the way, the World Cup is going to be so different. The difference between this and the World Cup, you can't be looking at this and be like, oh, what does this say about the World Cup? This says absolutely nothing about the World Cup other than a tournament that's kind of flung together, breaking really quickly, marketed in a confused way, a broadcaster signing on very, very late that's not really watchable in a easily accessible way. All of these things mean we see what we have, but it's almost like the kinks are being worked out in real time, and I'm sure there's a tournament here which is going to grow and grow, and I bet you in 30 years, you'll still be on talkSPORT and you'll be complaining about the days when the Club World Cup was at its best, when it just had 32 teams instead of the 180 now. It's not what it used to be.
Well, I'm interested to hear you say that, though,
I wouldn't put any money on that, by the way, Roger.
Which part? You'll still be broadcasting.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
My cryogenically frozen head may be in a box or something doing it.
I've already been replaced by AI, so don't worry about
it. That's the future I want. That is the future Sports Fans want.
No, but on a serious note, there are still concerns about, you say it doesn't bear any resemblance to the World Cup. One thing where it does are the weather and the pitches, both of which have received a lot of criticism. 6 or 7 games have now been halted because of the weather. You can't have that in a World Cup. What happened the other night to Chelsea was a disaster. You say lessons are being learned, but you can't really control the weather.
Yeah, but the pitches is ridiculous. Like for the Seattle, for instance, where there's been a lot of complaints about the turf. The turf was flung down, I think, 10 days before the tournament began. For the World Cup, it's going to be bedded in, I think, 100 days before and really woven into. I mean, ultimately, if you throw something together in a jerry-rigged way, that's what you get. The World Cup itself is being organised by the cities. The city of Atlanta has as much to do about the games that are going on here. They're really owned by FIFA. They're not being run by the Atlanta city. They have as much to do with that. I was just chatting to them a month ago. They have as much to do with the Club World Cup in their city as when they have like a Celine Dion concert. Somebody that comes in, rents the stadium, does their thing, and then goes. The difference between this and the World Cup will be worlds away. And what would a World Cup be, guys, without us moaning about something a year out? Every World Cup, Brazil, everyone was terrified. Social unrest was going to destroy the World Cup. It was one of the most joyous I've ever been to. South Africa, just the fear that was talked about a year out from that, where there was going to be just a World Cup of violence. So ultimately, it gives you something to talk about. It gives you something to worry about. It'll be the ultimate. Americans love a circus. The last World Cup, I moved here right before the last World Cup. There was a study that came out I think 3 weeks before the World Cup that said 79% of Americans don't even know the World Cup's happening and do not care. And everyone was saying, no one will ever go. It's going to be the first empty World Cup of all time. And it's still the best attended, even though they now have more teams. America loves a circus, and it will be hilarious. You'll come. You'll eat every lemon pepper wing. You'll eat every rib. It'll be amazing.
The football was affected very badly in '94 by the heat. I'm concerned about that.
But just very quickly, Roger, before we let you go, I want to talk Everton. We were saying earlier on, Jarrad Branthwaite signed a new contract, and I think this probably is the most optimistic Evertonians have felt going into a season for some time.
Since Dixie Dean.
Maybe not that long. Maybe since Howard Kendall.
Yeah, God bless Howard Kendall. It's an amazing time to be a Blue. It really, really is. We've got Everton actually coming over to the United States at the end of the month. On July the 25th, we're going to do a live show the Men in Blazers with Everton Football Club, David Moyes, live on stage on Broadway. So it is and thinking about that show with the players on with Moyes, I mean, we have suffered. It has been an agony. The fans have been the best thing about the team for a large part of the last decade. But this move from Goodison Park, the euphoria of that last season in that beautiful, really a palace of memory, and now the move to the new stadium. I mean, it does feel a little bit like whatever crawls into a chrysalis. What's a caterpillar crawling into a chrysalis and about to emerge a beautiful butterfly? And I'm old enough. I'm 73 years old. I'm old enough to remember when Everton were one of the best teams in Europe. The Freakins coming in, new ownership, new vision, new stadium, new energy. Watching Undai play is just an utter thrill to see a human being able to do that in an Everton jersey. Jared, God bless, Tark, all these human beings. For an Everton that plays with that kind of collective joy again, that tenacity, that ferocity, it's very lovely to have hopes there, because hopes and shattered hopes are always together, but it does feel like that may not be the case this season.
Good to talk to you, Roger. We're out of time. Thanks very much. We'll catch up with you again.
Cheers, guys.
You look very good for your age as well.
Oh, not much. I can't believe it. Is he having us on? You never know, Roger, do you? He's not 73.
Well, he might be.
He's not.
He doesn't look it.
No, he's
nothing like it, I'd say.
He's not. He was having us on, thinking he's had a lot of work done.
I know. I was looking at him thinking, oh, God, you look so much better than I do.
What about that? David Moyes on Broadway.
Yes.
I thought I'd see it.
Well,
David Moyes in Funny Girl.
I thought that might be a wind-up.
No, they are. He said they're going to do it. I did read they are doing a live show, with an Everton night. Anyway,
David Moyes to get a Tony Award.
An EGOT. He's going. It's the first part of his EGOT. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, thanks to Roger from Men in Blazers. Tim Vickery joins us from Rio next, and we're bound to touch on the Club World Cup and other stories from South American football in a few moments' time.
Cricket fans across the country are hoping for another classic between England and India this week. The second test is now well underway at Edgbaston, with Ben Stokes again winning the toss and fielding first. Former England bowler Phil Tufnell says the Bazballers have a newfound maturity.
I think this England side is a good side at the moment, and they've learned a little bit and they're playing smart cricket.
On to football now, and Real Madrid have already made a profit on Trent. He set up the only goal for Xabi Alonso's men in their 1-0 win over Juve at the Club World Cup. A place in the quarter-finals has earned Real £10 million. But Ali McCoy says Trent will face a battle to start at right-back for the Galacticos.
Carvalho's a very, very good player. Clearly coming, at the wrong end of his career age-wise. But he's not going to go anywhere with a fight, Al.
We're expecting João Pedro's move to Stamford Bridge to be confirmed today for £60 million. talkSPORT's Alex Crook is across that one.
The reason he's gone to Chelsea is because he thinks it gives him the best possible opportunity to make himself a guaranteed starter when it comes to the World Cup for Brazil next summer. I'm intrigued by this signing because, again, if you look at his numbers and his season, I'm not sure he pulled up that many trees for Brighton last season.
We've got plenty more content at talksport.com.
We'll catch up with Sam Ellard at tea in the cricket. We're not far off now, but just the one wicket to fall during our watch. Pant is getting his eye in, and he'll be back to Sam shortly. But Tim Vickery joins us now from Rio. Good afternoon, Tim.
Oh, test matches from Edgbaston. Hot fun in the summertime. I'm going to have to come back, aren't I?
You are.
I hope you're having a good time. I'll see you in just over a couple of weeks.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
It'll be lovely.
Yeah,
It'll be lovely to see you in this.
yeah.
How long are you back for, Tim, on this one?
It's only 2 weeks, second half of July. So, yeah, I'm really looking. Can you just keep the weather nice for me, please?
I don't think you need to worry
Long
about that.
summer evenings. Summer evenings. If there's a reason to live, then I believe that it is long summer evenings.
You can't look out your window and see Copacabana, though. That will be the difference, or Sugarloaf.
Yeah, but at the moment, I can't look out my window and see Sugarloaf because a cloud of dreary, rainy mist has descended. It's winter. It's winter in South America. And we're down to about 19 degrees today. Call out the National Guard. I want my money back.
So,
and it's -1 in Argentina. So there we go. It's interesting. You can give me a scouting report because we've already sort of been smacked by Flamengo, Chelsea. Now we've got to possibly play two Brazilian teams if we were going to get to the final. Are they better than Flamengo? And where does that leave Chelsea?
Flamengo are the ones who want to come out and play. And that's the reason that their game, I don't know if you saw the game against Bayern on Sunday, it was such a good game because it was one of those rare things when you get two sides trying to go toe-to-toe with each other. Palmeiras, Chelsea's opponents on Friday, they're the other. Fluminense have been a huge surprise. No one really expected this from them. Palmeiras are exactly where they want to be, where they expected to be. And it's very, very different from Flamengo. And they haven't done anything eye-catching. They're not interested in doing anything eye-catching. They will grind out results. The coach, Mr. Jacobs, sir, may well remind you of a young Jose Mourinho. Portuguese coach Abel Ferreira. He's very bright. He's charismatic. He's full of antics. I'm quite surprised he's only picked up one yellow card in the tournament so far for yelling at referees. He's always getting himself in trouble for what he says. But he's also very, very bright. Really good he's a kind of horses for courses coach. He'll switch his team according to the opposition. Never looking for style points, but always looking to get through one way or another. He's got problems with his defensive unit because two are suspended and one's injured. So he's got to remake a defensive unit, which will be tough. But further forward, he's got lots of options. And this is the Estevan Derby, the latest wonder kid who joins Chelsea.
It's very difficult for him because he said how nervous he is, and it's also difficult for Chelsea fans. It's sort of, I don't want him to be rubbish, but and if they are going to win, I quite like it that he gets a hat trick and he's absolutely fantastic. So you sort of have an ambivalent view of this, really.
Indeed, he's having a hard time because. And he hasn't been quite as good over the last few months. He's still terrific. He's only 18. They do like to build their idols up to knock them down. And after the third game, after the game in the group phase, he gave an interview and he said, it's hard for him to focus because he's thinking about next season. Now, that's the first big mistake of his career because, the rule of tournament life, there is no life outside the tournament. That's all there is. And for Palmeiras, this is the biggest thing that has ever happened in the club's history, being here. And they're all out to win it. They really are. When all of their rivals in Sao Paulo, they all have what they would call a world title, from that intercontinental. Sao Paulo have a few. Corinthians have one. They beat Chelsea in 2012. Santos have some. Palmeiras don't. So it's the thing that they get thrown at them all the time. You haven't got a world title. You haven't got a world title. So they have gone big for this. They bought back from Barcelona a striker called Vitor Roque, who hasn't really come off yet, but that's the most expensive signing in the history of Brazilian football for now. And the fella who came off the bench and scored the only goal in that dreadful game against Botafogo, the second round game, Paulinho, he's another big money signing. But when they bought him, he wasn't fully fit. He was coming back off an operation and it hasn't worked. So all he can do, he can't play for longer than half an hour. And after half an hour, they have to take him off. And after this tournament, he'll need another operation. And it worked against Botafogo. They brought him on. He scored the goal. They took him off again. So it shows you how important this is to this club. This is a big money signing, and they would rather have him now in 15-minute bursts and then wait for months for him to have an operation than do the patient bit and wait for him to recuperate. So and it's a young side, isn't it, Chelsea? And they will be up against a team that will be prepared to run through a brick wall to win this game. So Chelsea.
They've improved, though. They've improved a lot, Chelsea, but no Caicedo, which is a big blow.
I want to ask you about Fluminense as well, Al Hilal. They've both got decent scalps, obviously Inter and City in the previous games. And I suppose the reward, if Palmeiras do come through it, would be Palmeiras-Fluminense semi-final. This feels like a big game as well.
Yeah, and Fluminense might be a little bit confused by the fact it's Al Hilal. Because if it was Man City, what they were going to do. It would be the same game plan as the one against Inter. Now, you don't really know the way that this game's going to pan out. They're quite a good story, Fluminense. And as I said, they didn't really expect this. The coach is a fascinating figure, Renato Portaluppi. He was a very good player in his day. He was like a winger with the body of a centre-back. He says, and if he was chocolate, he would eat himself. He says that he was better than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Wow.
His main club he's associated with is Grêmio. There is a statue of him outside the ground.
Wow.
There is a statue of him inside his own mind. After beating Inter when they were very good, and it was he did set up the side wonderfully well. He said,
look at Inter. They were flogged to the extreme, completely down on their psyche, having been thrashed in the Champions League final. It wasn't a fair fight. I watched that. I watched that game.
They were dragging, and it was a strange pitch as well. It was a pitch that didn't. The ball was slow. It didn't bounce. It was a very odd pitch. Renato, the coach, who said after the game, this is obviously a personal triumph for me. He's an ego on the loose. But he's a good figure. One of the things about because he likes to come across. He's created this image of himself as the ultimate medallion man, playboy, beach bum. I don't bother with this studying business, but that's not him at all. He works very hard at it. He's like that, as maybe some of us had to be in school. You have to hide your intelligence a little bit just to get by. And he's a little bit like that. And now he's a bit put out by people saying, well, you're not really a tactician. You're just a playboy beach bum. No, I'm much more than that. But he spent years creating the image. You create a personality and then you become a prisoner of that personality. But they're a good story as well. The goalkeeper, Fabio, 44.
Yeah.
And he's within sight of breaking Peter Shilton's record for the number of professional games. And Brazil trailed him along for a while, but he never got on the field. So he's never won a Brazil cap. This is all of his World Cups wrapped into one. So he's a good story as well, I think.
Excellent.
Thiago Silva's brilliant.
We're out of time, Tim. We'll catch up with you next week when they really could be dancing in the streets of Brazil. Thanks very much, Tim. That's Tim Vickery there on the Club World Cup. We're going to talk a bit of motorsport. Big survey into a kind of state of the nation just ahead of the British Grand Prix this weekend at Silverstone. James Allen's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But it is tea at Edgbaston on day one of the second test. And here with the report, Sam Ellard.
And that would be another session, you'd have to say, that goes to India, from 98 for 2 at lunch to 182 for 3 at tea. Blue Skies looks a pretty good wicket to bat on. It's flattened out. England did get some movement and swing early on in the day, but not so much in the afternoon session. The majority of the afternoon session was dominated by Jaiswal and Gill. They put on 62 runs for the second wicket partnership. Jaiswal looked locked on for 100. He batted beautifully in the afternoon. He was dismissed though for 87 runs. Ben Stokes towards the end of the session bringing himself into the attack. Wasn't Stokes' best ball, short and wide. Jaiswal looking to cut through the offside, but a thin edge went through to Jamie Smith. That then brought the entertaining Rishabh Pant to the crease, and incredibly it took him 23 balls to show his first signs of aggression and hit his first boundary, charging the off spinner Shoaib Bashir down the ground, hitting him for a 6. That was his first boundary. He's got 14 runs to his name. Shubman Gill, the captain, 42 from 109 balls, only hit 3 boundaries. He's looking pretty watchful, when you can tell just trying to hold the innings together. So yeah, Gill goes to tea on 42, Pant goes to tea on 14. India, after being put into bat this morning by Ben Stokes, are in a pretty decent position at 182 for 3.
Thank you, Sam. Sam will be popping up in drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent after 4. Well, who knows? Maybe there'll be a flurry of wickets. We shall see. We're going to get an update from Lisa O'Sullivan at Wimbledon. We are going to talk some motorsport as well. If you've missed any of the show today, the podcast, the H&J Daily podcast, will be out just after 4 o'clock with some of the best bits, including a chat with our old mate Tim Key, whose new film is doing very well. He was talking about his new sitcom and some possible Partridge work, amongst other things. So a little bit of we moved away from the football. There's plenty of football content in there with Roger Bennett from Men in Blazers, etc. So that's available wherever you get your podcasts. But we're here with our good friends at Tool Station, delivering as little as 30 minutes with Fast Track. Next stop, Tool Station.
plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Let's check in once again very quickly with Lisa O'Sullivan at Wimbledon.
Yes, Hemans Hill packed out with Oliver's Army watching Ollie Tavitt take on two-time defending champion Carlos Alcaraz on centre court, the first British man in 8 years to qualify for Wimbledon, and it's on serve in the early part of the first set. Over on court number 1, Cam Norrie's got a break in the fourth set where he leads Francis Tiafoe 2-1, 4-3 up in that fourth set, and Nuno Borges has the upper hand over Billy Harris at the moment, 6-3, 4-2, the Portuguese player leads.
Thanks very much, Lisa. Now, a big survey into the kind of state of the nation in the world of Formula One, should I say, by the Motorsport Network has turned up some interesting stuff. It was pretty all-encompassing, and from the sports point of view, the news is good. Here to tell us more, James Allen, a man we often turn to on F1 from the Motorsport Network. Hi, James.
Hey Paul, hi Andy, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Now, anecdotally, it's felt because of things like Drive to Survive that F1 is bringing a new audience to the table, a younger and a female audience. But the problem you always have is you tend to alienate the people that have loved the sport in the past and feel like they're being left behind. But from your research and your survey, that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, I think you've put your finger on it, absolutely. One of the most difficult things, as you guys both know, you talk to all sorts of people from cross sport, everybody wants to grow. They'd love to have a younger, more female fan base, whether it's cricket, whether it's football, whether it's rugby, whatever it may be. But it's really, really hard to do, particularly without alienating the sort of longer standing fans who've been following your sport for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's a difficult balancing act. And one of the things that this research throws up is that they're managing to grow the fan base, a lot more Gen Zs, a lot more female fans coming in. Formula One's fan base is now 42% female. And the fastest growth area is the Gen Zs. But it's not alienating the older fans. So that's one of the really big take-homes from this piece of work that we've done together with Formula One. We did it on their behalf, if you like, because we're the biggest platform in motorsport. We had over 100,000 responses from 186 countries. We conducted the survey in multiple languages. We do it every 4 years. And, it's very clear the direction of travel. And I think a lot of other sports would be very jealous of the data that's come out.
It's incredible. It seems like they're coming to the sport for different reasons. I mean, your research says that the younger people and the female audience coming for the stories, but those old school F1 fans, the petrol heads, they're there for the sport. But that doesn't matter. I'm sure they're wrapped up in the stories, but they're kind of coming to it for different reasons.
Well, I think that's another one of the really good things we found is that both cohorts, you'd think they were very different. They wanted different things. But at the heart of their fandom is the love of the sport itself. They really are invested emotionally in the outcome of races. Very, very high number on that one. And so the sport itself is at the heart of the proposition, which I think is really encouraging for all of us that work in Formula One. But you're dead right. They come at it for different reasons. So the younger fans, the female fans particularly, they want the stories. They're interested in the drivers. They follow them on social media. They create friendship groups on TikTok and they create content themselves as well. They're not just consumers of content. They're actually creating an awful lot of content. And what we realise is that this is very similar to the way a lot of young women, particularly, but young fans generally, embrace music, and the way big acts, develop, singers and music acts, and the way that fandom develops around it. So, a lot to learn here. But generally speaking, it's a very, very positive sign. And as we go into the British Grand Prix this weekend, it's great news for Lando Norris. He remains a very popular figure, particularly with those Gen Zs, and he's got, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Silverstone promoters had the idea of doing a Lando Norris grandstand this weekend. It sold out in sort of faster than Glastonbury tickets in about sort of 20 minutes. So they bought more of them. And I believe there are four sort of banks of Lando Norris fans down at Stowe Corner this weekend, all cheering their man on.
One of the other stories is Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull to join Mercedes, and there's been a few stories.
George Russell can't wait.
Yeah, a few stories out of Italy today suggesting he's up for it. I mean, what's the latest on that, James?
Well, I mean, the latest, the situation is that Max has a contract till 2028. So, it's a bit like a long-term football contract. On paper, he's going nowhere. It's not as common in motor racing as it is in football to sort of transfer away from a team, 2 or 3 years before the end of your contract. But there are sort of performance clauses in there. So if Red Bull don't give him a fast enough car, then he could potentially walk away. Now, one of the senior Red Bull people came out after the last Grand Prix where a lot of these rumours were sort of circulating that Max may be looking for a way out, to say that they don't see a situation this season where those sort of poor performance clauses, if you like, could be triggered. There's no question Mercedes' Toto Wolff is definitely stirring the pot. I'm sure you're well aware that he and Christian Horner, the Red Bull boss, can't stand each other, and they always have a go at trying to make each other's life as uncomfortable as possible. But what I do know is that Max is a bit concerned because next year, as you know, and we've talked about before, they're changing the engine formula and they're changing the chassis. But it's particularly those engines, I think, that have got Max a little worried, because Mercedes are very, very good when you have a major rule change on the engine side, as they showed in 2014. That's what was opened the door for Lewis Hamilton to win all those titles. And I think Max is concerned that maybe the engine that's going to be badged Ford that he'll be running next year isn't going to be as competitive as he'd like. So I think there's no smoke without fire in Formula One. Whether he would move for 26 or whether he'd give it a year and then move for 27, I wouldn't like to say. And then as you pointed out, Andy, the other question is which of the two Mercedes drivers would make way? Very interesting question, because Antonelli, this young 18-year-old kid, is their future. But equally, if they could have Verstappen and Russell in a very powerful Mercedes, that sounds like a World Championship winning combo to me.
Excellent. Good to talk to you, James. We'll catch up with you soon.
Always a pleasure, lads. Take care.
Yeah, James Allen there from the Motorsport Network. You can look at all that research at their website.
Effective Drive to Survive. It's incredible, isn't it? Really,
power of it, yeah. Captured the imagination. So, there we are. That's us. You're back for the spread tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward.
Charlie Baker will be joining me for the show. You'll be kept in touch with the cricket, Wimbledon, and all manner of other stuff. Women's Euros gets underway tonight. Don't forget commentary of the Swiss in action against Norway in the hosts' opening game. We'll see you tomorrow. Coming up next, Andy Goldstein and Darren Bentwood Drive.